I don't see any crashes on the interstates, but we do have the regular brake tapping in the regular places. It is particularly slow going. Eastbound 24 from about the 40-24 split all the way down to Briley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Welcome in. How you doing? Everybody doing all right today? It is 6 minutes after 3 o'clock. My name is Matt Murphy, and conveniently, this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, so they tell me, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're here till 7 o'clock, or they yank us from the airwaves, whichever comes first. It is Tuesday, February 18th, 2025. For some of us, it feels like a Monday. More on that momentarily. No, I'm not casting aspersions or naming names.
Uh-huh.
But we'll get more into that in just a moment. It's episode 752 of our gathering together today, and it is Locks for Trump Day 353. You can find us on 99.7 FM, obviously on the radio dial. By the way, might want to remember that radio, might want to see where that transistor is, might want to see where that battery-powered radio might be in your home, your office, your place of business, whatnot, because we're getting a little snowfall, maybe some power outages. You never know. I don't wish that on you, but you never know. 99.7 FM. We're also on a variety of different applications. We have our own at Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Join us over there and see why we are on the radio. I'm going to say hello. First, I'll tell you what. First up, let's say hello to the guy who's been here all the week. There's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom.
Good afternoon, boys. Yes.
What's up, Weaver? How's it going?
Man, the sky and the ceiling. That's what's up.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And we got a little snow coming.
Yeah,
later.
got a little snow coming right now. Just contacted Mom and Dad over there in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
It's been snowing there today, but they've only got about an inch. However, they say east of them, Oklahoma had to shut down a highway.
Ooh,
because it was snowing so much. And right now, Little Rock's getting hammered by both ice and snow.
So that's no good. That's no good.
No, sir.
That's no good. Snow, that's one thing. Yeah. Ice and a snow or ice, that's another deal.
Yep. Yeah, and I-40, by the way, runs right through Little Rock.
Is Oklahoma fairly consistent in their snowfall amounts winter to winter as Nashville?
It's about
the same.
It's about the same.
Where they'll get a nice snowfall or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're a big fan of the snow, of course, as we've established.
Oh, I just love it.
Absolutely. And how did you enjoy it? Mr. Weber is here as well. He's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of your speakers sounds as good as possible. How did you enjoy your fake holiday off?
Hey, guys, yeah, it was lovely.
By the way, we I don't know if you know this. Did you tell him, Weaver? We voted yesterday. We talked about it yesterday. It was not specific to you, just in general.
Okay.
We talked about the holiday itself, and
Yes.
A vote was had on the show, and we decided that President's Day is a fake holiday.
Okay.
All right. So,
That's fine.
As
long as the company recognizes it as an official one, it's all right with me.
You got no vote. You could have tilted the vote. I voted fake holiday. Ken Weaver voted I just do the news, boys.
I just do the news, boys.
And I said, well, if, we wouldn't let Mason vote. He was compromised.
Yeah.
By the way, in your absence, Fleming almost won Nincompoops in the News, but then he got beat out on a technicality.
Uh-oh. What was that?
He admitted that he had used the story in the past. I was like, no, can't do that. You can't regurgitate old stories. That's no good.
It's not good.
That's kind of
and according to our Nincompoops bylaws, he can no longer participate, even if he's filling in.
What was the story that the guy tried to rob a Wendy's by throwing an alligator through the window?
Yeah, 3-foot alligator.
It was a pretty good story.
That's not bad.
I'll give him the story was pretty good. But he was like, when he started in with, from 2016, I was like, come on.
Yeah.
What do we do? He's like, well, that's one of my favorites. Okay, whatever.
One of my favorites.
By the way, just a real quick point of personal privilege. Just a quick shout out to a big Super Talk fan, Glenn, up at 5 Star Transmission. Just
How
wanna
about
say
that?
Hey to Glenn. I know he's listening right now.
What's up, Glenn?
Thanks
What's
for
going
your
on?
help. Yeah, he's a
Yes, sir.
good fella.
He give you a he give you a little assistance?
Yeah, he helped me out.
All right.
Yeah, got me fixed up.
Good for him.
All
Glenn,
right.
thank you
Thanks,
for
Glenn.
listening.
Yeah.
God bless. I appreciate you indulging us on a regular basis, whatever time you give us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good guy?
Oh, yeah, tremendous guy.
That's
well,
awesome.
I mean, he's a fan of us, so
Well, you
can't
know.
be too bad.
Well,
Wow.
he's perfect then.
I mean, we like him better than the non-fans. That's automatic. But then there's a gradient
Yeah.
amongst the fan base,
Yeah.
too.
He's a good one.
Well, we appreciate you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Thank you for hooking my boy up. We appreciate all of you listening today. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're thankful for it. Now, there's snow and nastiness on the way. Don't worry. We've got Dan Thomas of WSMV, Channel 4, coming by
All right.
via the telephone, and he'll give us the full skinny, the scoop as to when all of this is coming down. I know Ken Weaver's got the scoop over there in the newsroom as well, but we'll hear from the man himself, Dan Thomas, at about 4:35 this afternoon. Hear from you on the phones all day long. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. If you desire to get on board, you can do so via the phone lines. You can also do so via the super text line. I want to continue a conversation that we were having yesterday late in the show, and I want to revisit it because I know that many of you were perhaps off and maybe your schedules were a little bit different, and perhaps you were not listening by the time that I got to this in the 6 o'clock hour. And it has everything to do with DOGE and the concept of government efficiency and the effort on the part of Donald Trump and DOGE itself under the tutelage of Trump and, by extension, Elon Musk, attempting to shrink the size and scope of government. That's truly what we're trying to do. And you start with waste, fraud, and abuse, obviously. And from there, you move on to, frankly, some of the government programs that have become considered necessary over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years and beyond. Now is a time for asking and for choosing. Are we going to choose to continue to overspend in the amounts that we are overspending, almost guaranteeing that the United States of America will fail under its own financial burden and weight? Or are we going to do something about it? Are we going to follow the lead of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and others, attempting to shrink the size and scope of government for the purpose of, obviously, ultimately saving the United States of America? And I think it is the most important conversation that we can have. I know that there has been a lot of conversation about Doge lately, and rightly so. And what I have found almost to the point of amusement is how much the mainstream media, and it's just about everyone but Fox, News Nation, talk radio, all they want to do is pick at the edges. All they're choosing to do is try to pick the nits, nitpicking. They try to pick the nits around the edges. And today, the latest nitpicking involved these nuclear individuals, these individuals that were working in the nuclear sector that had been dismissed, that were called back to service because it was determined that they had erroneously been dismissed. Now, Elon Musk made no bones about the fact that obviously there are going to be human errors made in the process of trying to dismantle a government that has extended itself well beyond its responsibility and usefulness. And we never questioned that would be the case. At the same time, all that the political left wants to discuss, all they want to talk about are these small examples of this person or that person losing their job or losing their position, this person or that person who is in a bad way because they lost their job. I'm not wishing any individual any ill will or harm. I will say that the government in and of itself unless you are a self-motivated person, unless you are extremely self-aware of the principled purpose that your job entails, government can easily lend itself to those that simply want to sit around and collect a paycheck. Unless you every day are motivated. And there are plenty of people in service to our country in the government sector that believe this. Don't get me wrong. Not everyone is a layabout. There are plenty of individuals, admittedly, that are doing hard work, doing good work, and they will be the first to tell you that there's a lot of waste that could be cut off the top in government. But what I said yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it, is that for my 25 years of doing this radio show, we talk about government waste, we talk about overspending, we talk about the trillions of dollars that we are in debt quite a bit. And invariably, if we have leftists on this radio show, or if you listen to leftists on the talking head media networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, hashtag never CNN, MSNBC, and the like, you'll hear these leftists and their minions in the mainstream media. And over the 25 years, they always nod in agreement. They always bob their heads up and down when fiscal watchdogs like myself suggest that we have to get our spending under control. Obviously, you first focus on waste, fraud, and abuse. Once you get that done, you have to start cutting more until such time as we become balanced. You can do that by cutting. You can do that by raising taxes. I suppose that's an ideological difference in the two political parties. But if we don't do something, our nation will eventually die under its own financial burden. And for the love, I hope all of us can understand that. And it does not seem to me that the liberals and their minions in the media give a rip about any of that. They give lip service to it, and they always have. These leftist, intellectual pinky drinkers, they agree just to agree, and have for the last 25 years. Oh, well, yes, Matt, we absolutely must get this government spending. And where there's waste, there's a problem, and we need to address that, of course. And yap. Talk. Oh, they love doing it. Oh, because we can find common ground in this, Matt Murphy. And all they want to do is talk about one day. One day. We'll tackle it for real. One day we'll get to it. And how much we agree. And boy, oh boy, we really need to get on it. You know what we need to do? Say the left. We need to create a task force to do this. We need to maybe a blue ribbon commission needs to be empowered to really dig down and investigate this. We need to hire people, they'll say. We need to hire people to investigate waste and fraud in government, they say. Let's hire, 100, 200 folks and let them investigate it. We need to give them enough time, though. How about the next 5, 10 years? And then 5 or 10 years later, there's a big old book. It's a report. Here it is, and boom. And set it on the desk. 1,000 pages, big report. It only cost $38 million to create this report. And the mainstream media ignores it. And the leftists ignore it. And the Republicans ignore it. And the Congress ignores it. And everybody ignores it. And now we have 2025. And the second term of Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not seem invested in saving money his first term. I'll be the first to tell you that. He had other priorities in mind. And then sadly, COVID came along, and COVID was used not only against Donald Trump and the American people, but it was used as an open and empty piggy bank, or an open piggy bank, where we would print money, stuff it in the piggy bank. You take as much money out of the piggy bank as you get. And we saw overspending in the trillions of dollars. But now that Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Doge are actually tearing flesh from bone, things have taken on a different tone. And these same people have been exposed because, as I said late yesterday afternoon, and I'll reiterate it and repeat it, they never meant a word of it, these people, and many of the Republicans. But I'm focused on the minions in the mainstream media, and I'm focused on the leftists that control them. They never meant a word of it, not a word. Over my entire life, not a word of it. They just lie about it and move on. And why wouldn't they? They never thought that anyone inside the system, Republican or Democrat, had the stones to do anything about it. They never thought that it would happen. Of course they didn't. Why would they? Because it never had happened. The GOP, sadly, the GOP never had the numbers to lift a finger about it. The only person that really gave lip service to it in the past was Ronald Reagan, and maybe to a certain degree Newt Gingrich and the Republican Congress that came about during the Clinton administration that created a balanced budget. Well, that was a blip in time. And of course they didn't. Outside of Reagan and maybe that blip in time with the Republican Congress, the GOP would only speak of the debt and speak of reducing spending when they weren't in power because it was a convenient talking point. When they got power, the GOP sadly just spent money on their own programs and overspent money on their own programs. But now that we're actually doing something, now, as I say, you tear flesh from bone, now the leftists howl and they screech and they yell and they scream. They claim that people are going to die. They are literally on social media platforms. I saw earlier today, Big Gloria Johnson telling us that, I'm sorry, did I say that? I didn't mean that. I think it, I try not to say it because, I'm some ugly, I'm not here to cast aspersions about anybody's look. She's a large woman, though. Anyway, Gloria Johnson in the Tennessee General Assembly, she's on her social media platform saying, people will literally die. I've got a hot tip for you, lady. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. The government can save no one from death. They'll scream and they'll yell and they'll mule and they'll puke and they'll scream ad hominem attacks against Elon and Trump and everyone else under the sun, to the point that they talk about constitutional crises and how all of this is illegal, and they nitpick it to death. Now some of them are even saying that overspending's not the problem, that we should tax our way out of it. The bottom line is, as I said yesterday, these people are addicted to government. They are addicts. They are like heroin addicts. All they want is their next fix. They are in, for lack of a better way to put it, a cult. The cult of government. Nothing can exist. No American is responsible enough for themselves. If COVID did not illustrate how they feel about all of this, I don't know what will. They don't look at you as adults. They look at you as children. They don't believe that you have the individual responsibility to take care of yourselves. They talk all about the greater good. And what they never tell you is that the greater good means power and control over you for them. And then they'll throw some scraps to the media minions and whoever else there is that doesn't dare question them. They underestimate and constantly have underestimated the independent and individual responsibility that you and I and the rest of America are willing to take to claw our country back from oblivion. But you better stick to it. I've been yelling about this for 25 years, and I never thought that it would be anything but talk. But now there's meat on the bone, and I don't know where it goes from here. If patriotic Americans can hold the line with this guy in the White House, with this leadership in the White House, who knows? Just keep up the work. 24 after the hour, there's the rant at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am so dadgum excited about the 2025 Men of Valor Breakfast happening at the Music City Center from 7 to 8:30 Wednesday, March 26th. I will be there, and I certainly hope that you will be there as well. It is a big event with more than 1,500 supporters in attendance. Men of Valor, of course, is committed to winning men in prison to Jesus Christ by discipling them. Their purpose is simple: to equip them to be able to re-enter society as men of integrity, as men, dare I say, of valor, becoming givers to the community rather than takers. And your sponsorship at the 2025 annual breakfast supports the year-round work of Men of Valor. It's their big event. This one and the one in Knoxville, I should say, are their big events of the year. And I encourage you to go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com. And find out how you can be a bronze, a silver, a gold, a platinum, or yes, even a title sponsor to the big Men of Valor breakfast. It is on the way March 26th. That is a Wednesday morning at the Music City Center. Friends, I encourage you to be a part of this wonderful organization. Men of Valor, their program graduates become good and productive members of society, and you'll see many of them at the 2025 breakfast. So remember the date. It is Wednesday, March 26th. Music City Center from 7 to 8:30 in the morning. It's the big Men of Valor breakfast. Find out more at movministry.com.
The winter storm keeps getting closer. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt explains Elon Musk's role in Doge as a deputy commissioner in the FDA quit over 89 firings today. We'll tell you about that at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Obviously, the government bureaucracy, when you start throwing rocks into a pack of dogs, the dogs are going to howl, right, when they get hit with the rocks. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of howling amongst the government about how you can't survive. I mean, I'm watching it, and the minions in the media are just following suit. Phil Williams being one of those over at News Channel 5. I would love to talk to Phil about this, sit down and have a reasonable conversation. I would have you note that I welcome disagreement on this radio show. Always have. I welcome anyone willing to come on. I mean, David Plazas and I had a good conversation. We got a little crossways toward the end of it on transgender issues, but, I mean, we left as friends. We can have these disagreements and leave as friends. I welcome these conversations. Sadly, the liberals, they refuse to have them because they cannot defend their position. They cannot defend their argument. The argument here being made by conservatives, by Donald Trump, by Elon Musk, and by people like me, we cannot continue to exist by overspending by over $1 trillion a year as a nation. And at some point, the chickens are going to come home to roost. We must begin cutting waste and inefficiency and then begin asking questions about what is absolutely necessary and is not. Instead, these folks immediately go to, if you cut any of this money, people will die, which is where our good buddy Phil Williams, who is a coward. Why do you say that, Murphy? Because he's on social media. And if you're on the X machine, you don't have to engage anybody on X, not a single soul. If you can do your own thing and never engage another person and never read another comment. Phil, as a news reporter, refuses to allow people to comment on the garbage that he puts up on X. He disallows comment. In other words, he puts up lies, and people who want to disabuse him of his half-truths are unable to do so because Phil thinks you're beneath him. So when I refer to Phil as cowardly, well, that's why. Because he is. More on this in a moment. We'll talk about Nazi Germany in a moment. Talk about a lot of different things. And with you, 31 after the hour, it's time for news.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, tracking that winter storm. First snowflakes expected to start falling in west middle Tennessee for places like Clarksville around 5 o'clock, and then Nashville possibly by 8 o'clock. Looking at this storm right now, it is dumping not only snow but ice in Little Rock, Arkansas. We don't need that ice. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Nashville Department of Transportation crews have been pre-treating roads ahead of the storm. Brendan Tierney with Channel 4 is at the Salt Barn in East Nashville.
And they have 40 trucks out here that all have plows and salt getting loaded into the back of them, like the ones that are lined up right here. They've already been out on the road pre-treating them, and once the snow starts falling, they'll be working 12-hour shifts until every road is clear.
Governor Lee and TEMA leaders touring flood-damaged areas of the state today. Their first stop was Clarksville, where more than 24 people had to be rescued on Sunday. Dozens of roads are still underwater there.
The effort here on the ground locally from the mayor, from his team, from the emergency management folks here to coordinate with TEMA as we coordinate with FEMA. And it's something, unfortunately, that we've become accustomed to, but people did their jobs and people were safe, and we're very grateful for that.
Lee says they're assessing the flood damage in order to determine need, and that FEMA has reached out twice to be of assistance. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt keeps having to explain Elon Musk's role in Doge.
President Trump is the ultimate decision maker for this entire administration. Elon Musk, just like everybody else across the federal government, works at the direction of President Trump.
Earlier today, the FDA Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, Jim Jones, quit because he reportedly was upset over the firing of about 89 people. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I still don't see any crashes on the interstates, but we do have volume slowing things down, as we usually do this time of day. Right now, the heaviest is going to eastbound to East Loop downtown, then east and westbound, the South and West Loop. And then particularly heavy going, a lot of stop and go, eastbound 24 from the 40 split down to 440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you about the Glock store for a moment. What a great place to buy a gun. What a great place to shoot. They have the Shoot 270 rooms. We tell you all about those quite often. The retail space is awesome as well. When you call yourself the Glock store, you're going to have more Glocks in stock than any place in America, and they do at the Glock store. Also, they have many other types of guns. They have handguns, of course, long guns, and they have accessories for you at the retail side of things. Plus, then the Shoot 270 side. And, oh, by the way, they've not forgotten all of you lovers out there for the month of February. You know, just because Valentine's Day is come and gone, that doesn't mean that this very special has come and gone. It's like this. If you come to the Glock store to shoot, if you sign up for a personal trainer in a private shooting room, that professional that's going to tailor their session to your current level of shooting expertise, you'll get two for the price of one. So you can bring that loved one along with you, and both of you can get the incredible experience at the Glock store. Whatever level you're at right now, they're going to tailor it. They're going to finish you up a better, more confident shooter after your session at the Glock store, and you'll want to come back. You'll schedule that next session right then. Shoot270.com or GlockStore.com, minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Tell them I sent you to the Glock store. As always, we'd love to hear from you, 615-737-9986. Phone line's always available during the Matt Murphy portion of the day. Once again, 615-737-9986. You can also hit us up on the super text line. You can also find me on social media platforms like the X Machine. I'm there often. The X Machine is an absolute cesspool. It is the lowest of the low in terms of humanity, but I love it. I wallow around in it from time to time. You're welcome to follow me there at Matt Murphy Show. Plenty of other things going on there at Matt Murphy Show. By the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention obviously the snow's coming in tonight. We're going to be impacted, particularly if you're north of I-40, and we'll have more with, Ken Weaver's been updating you all afternoon long, and we'll have more with Dan Thomas coming up at 4:35 this afternoon. Also should note that in the northern areas of Tennessee, the governor, Bill Lee, who lost his mother the last week, I believe it was. It might have been over the weekend. I was told that earlier today. Somebody mentioned to me that the governor, they had her funeral yesterday. So your thoughts and prayers out to the Lee family as they mourn the loss of Governor Bill Lee's mother. I was unaware of that until this morning. So, but after a few days of remembering her and reflecting on that, he's back at it. He is touring impacted damage areas in Clarksville. There are some other parts of northern Tennessee that have been impacted in a similar fashion to the way Kentucky's been impacted. Not quite as badly, but still pretty bad. These storms created a tremendous amount of rain. That rain overswelled and overfilled many of our rivers and whatnot, and a lot of flood damage, not just in Kentucky, but also in northern Tennessee. And with the storms coming tonight and into tomorrow, that's just going to exacerbate the situation. So we're thinking about those folks up north of us, and, our thoughts are going out to those folks as well. I put a call out to the governor's office as to whether or not he might be able to come on with us to discuss some of what he's seeing, and we're hoping that he might get back with us at some point over the course of the day. But I just wanted to note that he is touring the devastated damage that were caused by some of the rains that came through Kentucky. All of Kentucky got popped, and of course, some portions of – I saw some images from Clarksville. I saw some images from – what was it, Reese, Tennessee? Or Reese's, Tennessee? Reeves, Tennessee. Thank you, Ken Weaver. And, man, it looked – the waters are receding now, but they got up there pretty high. So if it popped your house, it is – I used to say about the tornado designations, EF5, EF4, EF3. If it pops your house, everything's an EF5. If it hits you, then the damage is 100%. You don't have to worry about percentages. So we're thinking about those folks out there. So our good buddy Phil Williams, who I regularly spar with, I try to spar with him on social media. He won't because he turns off his comments. I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me like he's blocked so many other Tennesseans. Phil believes the conversation should go one way from holier-than-thou ivory tower, where he lives, to you, and you should just listen to him without your own opinion and without your own ideological perspective and without recognizing his. So Phil, like so many of his minions in the mainstream media, his fellow minions in the mainstream media, he has positioned himself as someone who's very concerned about medical research and the inability for organizations like the Vanderbilt Medical Center to do their jobs without government assistance. And so I'll read to you from News Channel 5 and the Williams piece regarding the medical community in the state of Tennessee. He says, so where do Tennessee's members of Congress stand on proposed cuts to medical research that could affect our community in such a drastic way? For the most part, your lawmakers don't want to tell you where they stand on what has become a huge controversy. Is it cutting government waste, fraud, and abuse? Is that really controversial? Is it? Last week, Williams writes, News Channel 5 investigates first obtained a letter in which Tennessee's big medical centers and universities warned that the National Institutes of Health cuts being pushed by President Donald Trump, and Elon Musk would, quote, devastate biomedical research across the United States, including a significant presence we have built in Tennessee. They also warned that the NIH policy change would, quote, reduce research, limit clinical trials, close labs, cut jobs for established and early career researchers, limit training opportunities for future scientists, and risk America's leadership in biomedical science. In other words, you cut a little government spending to these institutions and the world's going to end, and everybody's going to die. Yeah? And so Phil says, we asked every member of Tennessee's congressional delegation if they would, as the letter writers urged, commit to calling on the Trump administration to rescind that policy. How do you think our elected officials responded to old Philly boy? Well, Senator Haggerty didn't. He did not bother. I don't blame him. Mark Green did not bother. I don't blame him. By the way, Mark Green is a physician. And then Phil throws in, his district includes Vanderbilt, which stands to lose about $100 million a year. I think Vanderbilt's going to be just fine. What's Vanderbilt's endowment right now? How much does Vanderbilt charge students to go to their premier university? Is Vanderbilt not going to so you're telling me Vanderbilt will not be able to provide some of the medical research that they're providing with the endowment that they have in the billions and billions and billions of dollars without $100 million a year from the federal government? If that's the amount of money they stand to lose, Phil? We also did not get a response from Representatives Tim Burchett, Chuck Fleischman, Diana Harshbarger, Andy Ogles, nor John Rose, all Republicans. Senator Marsha Blackburn's office responded with a statement from a spokesperson saying the goal is to allow taxpayer dollars to go toward life-saving research, not inefficient administrative costs. And then he says, of course, that doesn't really answer the question. Does she support these cuts or doesn't she? GOP Congressman Scott Desjardins, who's a frequent guest on our show, also a physician, said taxpayer money should be spent transparently, efficiently, and judiciously. I support efforts to rein in spending that is unaccountable while also supporting new plans that allow funds for life-saving research to continue at institutions in Tennessee that allocate and spend them wisely. This does not need to be an either-or proposition. Both goals can be achieved. That is the exact answer that Phil was looking for. And, of course, he ignores it, doesn't comment on it, and goes on to the clearest response we got was from, guess who? Democrat Steve Cohen, chicken eater, Memphis. Here's what Fried Chicken had to say. NIH funding is critical to the economic health of Memphis and the Mid-South region. That's the first sentence. So NIH funding is critical to the economic health. So the economic health of Memphis will be destroyed without NIH funding. Really? Does anyone believe that? He continues, due to the medical research at our medical school, the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and the University of Memphis, among several other institutions, our community receives more than $100 million that supports physicians, researchers, and other support staff. This funding goes to peer-to-peer or peer-reviewed projects that have great potential to save lives and improve therapies. This is not the kind of cost-saving Americans want because it is sure to cause unnecessary harm. I join a chorus of medical research professionals in demanding that this short-sighted and dangerous policy be reversed immediately. Yeah, this is like a private sector cutting jobs, recognizing that we've got to balance our books, and then deciding that they're going to have to cut from certain departments, and then going to their department heads and saying, how do you feel about us cutting from your department? Well, of course they're not going to like you cutting from their department. Of course the medical research facilities, and I'm not denying that they don't do some good work. I'm certain that they do. I would suggest to you two things. One, they can continue to do the good work without the needless and reckless non-accountable spending. Number two, if we have an accounting, an auditing of said spending, and we decide to cut the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, and some necessary spending gets cut out in the process, we can always repair that spending when you justify it. These folks don't believe that they have to justify anything that they do to the taxpaying citizen, and that's part of the problem. Number three, and this is what I would love to talk to Mr. Williams about, what do you propose we do? That's my question for you, Phil Williams. Do we continue to spend as we have? Do we raise the tax burden on the American people and the people of the state of Tennessee? Or do you propose certain cuts of your own that might make better sense than cutting certain aspects of medical research in the state of Tennessee? This is the fear-mongering game that the political left is engaging in right now, and I don't think you need to buy into it because it's just that. It's nonsense. Logan is next up with a thought. Hey, Logan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, Logan. Thank you for calling.
So I had a question. So Phil Williams has his comments turned off on the X machine.
He does.
Is there legal ramifications regarding the First Amendment if he's using it in his official capacity? And that's my question. And I'll hang up.
I don't know that there would be. I mean, he's not a government. So your question is there some sort of no? I mean, no. I think perhaps his company might have a policy that could be involved, but obviously they don't. I mean, Phil Williams is an employee of News Channel 5, as far as I know. He's not a government official. There have been some rulings over the past few years regarding government officials using their social media accounts in an official capacity and refusing to allow certain people to comment on those accounts. I think we talked about it when Representative Justin Jones started blocking people who disagreed with him, right? Did my door just close?
I heard it. I'm not sure what that was.
Okay, so here's what just happened. And this is weird. That chair right there, the guest chair,
Yeah.
I watched the guest chair move like 25 degrees.
Wow.
I'm not, this is freaking, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit because I watched that chair move and it was actually this way and it moved that way as if somebody was turning it to get up out of it.
Mm.
And I assumed it was just wind or whatever. And then I heard that door close.
Yeah.
And so now I'm freaking out a little.
Knock twice if you wish to communicate.
I'm going home.
Uh-oh.
Suddenly.
Here's the news.
Suddenly
It's going to
we're-
snow. Stay home if you can.
And I'll see you.
And Doge is going to piss everybody off.
Those reminds me of these stupid YouTube videos that I watch in the middle of the night. I can't go to sleep. These people that go out to these freaky places like old mental institutions in the middle of the night, and not even on the. Some of these people that do the YouTube videos, they don't have a production. They go by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think those people are insane.
Oh, yeah. They're certifiable.
There's one guy that was in a Detroit factory, and it's a pretty famous old factory in Detroit. I don't know if they did automobiles or whatever, but it's a fairly famous building. And he was going in there, and he was down in the bowels of the building, and it freaked me out just watching it. Had to turn it off. Where he's there, and he thinks he heard something, and he turns, and he is like in the bowels of this building, like deep.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And he turns his camera, and there is a guy, a human being, crouched in the corner facing away from him.
Okay. No.
And he like calls to the guy. He's like, "Hey, are you okay, buddy?" It's a guy. He's like, "Hey, you okay, buddy?" The guy didn't move. He said, "Are you okay?" And he's like, he says something. He's like, "I'm gonna get." He's like mutters to himself, "I'm getting them bleep out of here." And so he leaves. And then as he's going up the stairs, he thinks, maybe that guy was in a bad way. I need to offer him money. He like felt bad. And so he turned back around and he goes back. Guess what? Where the guy wasn't.
In that same spot.
In that same spot, he was gone. I'm like, I'm out of there, man. I'm never in there, but so that's the way I feel right now in this studio. The ghost of Phil Williams is attacking me. 52 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 W, and he's not even dead. 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Here's the deal, folks. I'm of the opinion, and I think I can speak for Grace Point Healthcare when I say this. We've got too much insurance in our healthcare, too much insurance company making decisions, not enough doctor-made decisions, and way too many insurance-made decisions. That's why Grace Point Healthcare exists. They are affordable, convenient, comprehensive medicine. They are a direct pay system, meaning a primary care provider that takes payment at the time of service. Why is that beneficial to you? Because your communication is between you and your doctor. You do not have to fear that insurance companies are mandating what they can or cannot do. You don't have to fear that pharmaceutical companies are getting in the way either. Plus, it can be affordable this way. Let me give you an example. If you sign up for the basic Smart Care plan, which is just $69 a month, you have unlimited and free office visits for the entire year during the course of your care. Plus, they'll give you free basic labs and diagnostics. Just ask them about it. Now, you don't have to sign up for that Smart Care plan. You can come on board, and in your initial visit, you can be seen today or next day. That's the way they do their business at Grace Point Healthcare. They even do house calls when you're feeling too bad to leave the home. Grace Point treats your entire body holistically. They don't believe in just throwing a pill at it when they don't have to. I love that about them as well. Located in the heart of Franklin, call 599-6868, and please mention that I sent you to Grace Point Healthcare. I believe in the manner in which they do business. They like to say modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way at Grace Point Healthcare.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
All right, the winter storm is creeping nearer and nearer, even as Tennessee flood victims, some of them's homes, still underwater. Governor Lee and TEMA leaders went to tour some of those areas today. And a federal judge says she will not block DOJ from accessing federal data systems at 7 federal agencies. We'll tell you about that coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
If y'all don't listen to anything that I say, listen to Ken Weaver, because that story on this judge, it'll surprise you who the judge is. By the way, men, if you don't do anything else, I beg of you today, go to my X machine. I have just reposted a video of Mark Hamill, Luke
boy.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
At a British awards ceremony, and he loses his pants.
I got to see it.
His pants fall off. Ken, you got news to do, but y'all watch this video. We're going to discuss when we come back.
Luke Skinwalker.
Skin something. Anyway, I'm just glad he didn't go full Jeffrey Toobin.
Oh.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Snow expected to start falling in West Middle Tennessee around 5 o'clock in places like Clarksville today. Nashville, that snow expected to start falling by 8 o'clock tonight. Right now, speaking of Clarksville, some of the leading edge of this winter storm has surpassed Paducah, Kentucky, so it's getting closer, Clarksville. Right now, Little Rock is getting ice and snow. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney says Nashville Department of Transportation crews have trucks with plows loaded with salt and brine to keep roads as clear as possible.
The real big concern from NDOT officials with this storm is going to be how cold it is after the storm. Philip Jones told me that NDOT expects the roads that aren't pre-treated and then plowed to freeze into a snowpack, and they'll probably stay that way until Friday at the earliest.
Governor Lee and TEMA leaders touring flood-damaged areas of the state today, Clarksville and Obion County, which is the first step toward getting federal funding and resources where needed.
Difficult anytime you see someone's home that's got water in it, and that's a hardship for that homeowner and for that family, and there are a lot of families just like them. So it's hard to see, but it inspires you to work to make sure that people are safe.
Yeah, some parts of West Clarksville, there are folks over there, they still have water standing in their homes. Kentucky flood victims bracing for this winter storm. 14 deaths so far in Kentucky, the most recent 2 from hypothermia. Here comes single-digit lows at night. Half of Kentucky's counties are under disaster declaration for the flood. And a federal judge says she will not block DOJ from accessing federal data systems at 7 federal agencies. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan says the plaintiffs, 14 Democrat-led states, have failed to show that they will suffer imminent irreparable harm without relief. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to explain Elon Musk's role in Doge again today.
President Trump is the ultimate decision maker for this entire administration. Elon Musk, just like everybody else across the federal government, works at the direction of President Trump.
Earlier today, the FDA Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, Jim Jones, quit because he reportedly was upset over the firing of about 89 people. U.S. and Russian officials sitting face-to-face for talks on ending the war in Ukraine today.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says at the top of the agenda for these conversations between the U.S. and Russia is restoring diplomatic missions in Washington and Moscow.
We haven't really had much engagement with the Russians for almost 3 years, and it sets the table for future conversations. How that turns out will be up to the parties and their willingness not just to make commitments, but to live by them.
Rubio said the U.S. and Russia would each appoint a high-level team to negotiate and work through the end of the war in Ukraine in what he says is a way that's enduring and acceptable to all parties.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I don't see any crashes on the interstates right now. However, over in the nations, I'm seeing a bit of a backup due to some construction on the road. That's going to be Briley Parkway over there near 40 in the nations, getting a lot of stop and go. That's the case for eastbound 24 all the way down to Harding Place. And then it's starting to build northbound 65 to go eastbound on 440. And then eastbound on 40 downtown. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Here we go. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another hour. It's 4:07. Glad to have you with us on this Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for being around. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. You can follow us on a variety of social media platforms. We invite you to be a part of the show, either listening on radio, listening on our app, or watching on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Always up and running, always available for you. And when you watch, when you listen, do us a favor and go over there to the YouTubes or the Facebooks or wherever you might be watching. I don't know what they do on Twitch. I've never been on Twitch in my life. But I know what they do on the old tweeter machine, and there's some way for you to like and subscribe. Like and or subscribe.
But
and
you know what, Matt? I mean, it's just a hassle, and it's probably really expensive,
I
too.
don't know. Ken, what do you got on that?
What's that?
What's it going to cost you to like and subscribe us on the social medias?
Absolutely nothing.
Well, there you go.
I might be able to afford that.
It comes directly from
Now,
the
you
user.
might get a callus on your thumb or your index finger.
Sure.
Other
I
than
don't think
that.
so, though. I think we're well able to handle that sort of thing. Did y'all watch Mark Hamill? You watched Mark Hamill?
I didn't get to it yet. Yeah.
Oh, Luke Skinwalker?
Luke Skinwalker. He lost his drawers. He lost his britches. He recovered quite. Now, I got to give him credit. I don't know that I've ever been in a situation. I've worn tuxedo breeches. I actually bought a tuxedo because I never wanted to go to another event where I had to wear a tuxedo. I'm serious.
Yeah, because when you buy one,
that's right.
You'll never need it.
Right.
Interesting theory.
I had two events that I needed a tuxedo for, like back to back. And it was going to cost me $150 per event to rent a tuxedo. Ooh. This is like 4 years ago. And I went and investigated it and realized that I could buy a tuxedo for like, I don't know, $600, $700, something like that. So I was like, well, let's go buy a tuxedo, which I did. And I've never been to an event where I needed a tuxedo since. Because
I'm watching. Look at it. Thank goodness for that podium.
So he's standing at the podium delivering remarks, talking about movie making and how magical it is and whatever he's saying.
Movie making.
And you see his eye before he moves for the britches, his eyes kind of widen a little bit, and he's like, it looks like he widens the knees.
Is he drunk?
But see, I don't.
His tie looks a little askew, too.
Maybe he is. With those tuxedo breeches, they don't have anywhere. You can't wear a belt.
Yeah.
That's with tuxedo
right.
breeches.
No belt loops, yeah.
No belt loops. Yeah. And so you're really dependent on, the strength of that elastic band, I suppose.
I mean, the way, I could only see the podium up, right?
That's right.
So, but it looked like he grabbed very low. So it's not like they had just started. They were going.
They went down.
Yeah. They fell.
Wow. I mean, when they got off the old waistline, it was zoop.
He's trying to tuck his shirt in.
He looks like an old ball coach now. He's sitting there sticking his hand down in his pants around his coat.
All right now, boys.
Tucking that shirt back in.
Perhaps a belt you should wear. And,
suspenders they have.
It's old Luke Skinwalker.
A cummerbund they make.
Yeah, he doesn't have a cummerbund. That's the problem.
That cummerbund is a lifesaver when it comes to them loose britches.
I just always thought that'd hide your belly sticking out.
Oh, yeah.
What is the point of the cummerbund? I thought that's what it was.
What, to hide your belly?
Yeah.
I think it is supposed to hide your belly.
I've always thought the cummerbund was there to just formalize the...
It's not structural, is what you're saying.
I don't think
just kind of ties things together.
Yeah, to hold. Okay. Yeah,
I can buy that.
I mean, maybe. I was a vest guy.
Me too. Yeah,
always did the vest.
Oh, I had the cummerbund.
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
The two times I have worn it, tux, my junior and senior prom.
What color was that tuxedo?
It was burgundy.
Burgundy.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh wow! You sure it wasn't oxblood?
No.
That's a callback, everybody.
Yep.
Callback, baby. Mm-hmm. Listen often.
No, it was burgundy. Oh, wait a minute. No, I've worn them. I've worn 4. I'm sorry.
4.
Yeah, because I've been in weddings too.
Uh-huh. Golly, don't you love it when you get invited to be a part of a wedding? I think I'm just completely beyond that now. I'm past the age where anybody would invite me. I don't have any friend group, and
I've had my fill of them.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bad memory after that one, man. I was not. I had to give a toast, and I'm not good at toasting.
Did you flub it, Ken?
Of course I did. I think I said something about, well, we sure do hope you guys are together a long time. And you're one of my best friends. Everybody, have a good time.
Yeah, but, if things don't work out, what the hell?
It was terrible.
Look on the bright side, Ken. Your pants didn't fall off. Did
That's true. Did your pants fall
That's
down?
because I wasn't wearing any.
Oh, hello. Is that kind of what it was?
No, my pants didn't fall down, but good grief, man. I'm just not made for stuff like that.
I don't like any ceremony where, and maybe this is typical of all men, I don't know, but I came to the realization that I don't care for any ceremony where I feel like they're doing things within the ceremony just to make the ceremony longer, so to justify the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, no offense, funerals, weddings, whatever, bar mitzvah, any occasion where, why are we doing all of this? Oh, because we've got to make it 45 minutes long to justify all of this.
The cost.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get done with a wedding and
do you? Yes. Do you? Yes. Good. You're married.
Mine took 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
7.5 minutes in Las Vegas, Nevada. Little Church of the West. And the only people inconvenienced were the preacher. I wouldn't include us in it. I think we appreciated it.
Sure.
The only weird moment of my wedding, the 7.5 minutes that I got married, I've told the story in the past. They had to put a minimum on tipping the preacher because so many people in Las Vegas were stiffing the preacher.
Wow.
Because they act.
Oh, man.
These are actual pastors that live in the Las Vegas area that come in and they do this for, whatever donations you give them goes to their church. They don't work for the facility.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they had to put a rider on the little web page that, we require a minimum $50 tip. This is in 2002. Wow. A minimum $50 tip, sadly, because unfortunately a number of the pastors have reported that they are not getting tipped appropriately.
Well, everybody's drunk.
Well, that's right.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, see,
not everybody.
Here's the thing, though, Ken. Let me tell you, as somebody that got married in Las Vegas, Nevada, that's what they say.
Yeah.
We were drunk and we just drove through the drive-thru. You know what you have to do before you go get married?
You got to sign paperwork.
You got to go to the Clark County wedding license office.
That's right.
In downtown Las Vegas. And we flew in on Friday, decided to go on Friday night instead of Saturday. We're getting married there on Saturday. And we stood in line at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night. And we were the only sober people in that line. There was a lovely couple in front of us, and, old boy looked road hard and put up wet. She didn't look much better.
They probably just met.
We're getting married, boy. We're going to leave here and go down and pay $400, and Elvis Presley's going to get us married.
Elvis Presley's going to marry us.
They're dedicated. They stand in that line, hey.
Yeah, I guess.
Good enough.
I guess, but all these people, no, they're sobered up. Unless they're drinking after. They're sobered up by the time they get to the wedding chapel.
You think so?
Yeah. Come on. They know what they're doing. One way or the other, old preacher guy, I didn't know what to do. I'm young. I don't know. And I don't have a lot of money. And so you ask for 50, you're getting 50. You're not getting extra.
Yeah.
I would like to believe that now I'd throw in a couple extra bucks, but at the time, whatever. And I didn't know how to do it. And so I just I did it like you do the old maitre d',
the
old Palmer, And we didn't realize it at the time, but it was it's like a little wedding factor. You start off in the office and you're signing paperwork in the office, and then they move you to this little scenic area with a bench, and you look over the skyline of Las Vegas, and you're there for a minute, and then somebody comes and gets you and takes you to the little gazebo, and you can take little pictures there. And you don't think about this, but every time you move, somebody moves to where you were.
Yeah.
It's like a little cattle call.
Yep.
And then eventually you get to the church and they go up and you meet your pastor, and that's when I gave him the old Palmer, And that's when when I gave him the money, he kind of looked at me and looked down and kind of made sure that I was like, I don't know, what if it was a 20? Would he just throw me out?
But he got, am I going to get the rest after?
Man, right. Yeah, it's just this is the deposit.
Yeah.
And then 7.5 minutes later, there you go. So point being is that, I don't go to anything that requires a tuxedo anymore. But I understand those tuxedo pants can be tricky. Mark Hamill, may the
whoop, whoop, whoop.
Oh, may the force be with you. Always. So liberals are big mad. They got a lot of rallies going on. Have y'all seen some of these? They are very, very upset. They are upset to the point that they're rallying. Yesterday was a big rallying day. Is that where you were, Weber?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, Brother Chris wasn't anywhere near one of those No King Day rallies.
I can count. I don't think I can count on both hands the number of things that I think Weber would dislike. I mean, just start with like people, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, and then
That's
go
a big strike,
and
right
then
there.
go from there. And then we can go to the type of people and what they're rallying for, where they are, and whatever. But no, there are big rallies all over the United States of America.
It was No King Day, Brother Murphy.
Well, that's right. No kings.
Yeah.
We don't believe in it. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt slammed Democrats in their hypocritical position, rightly so, ahead of DOJ's Social Security audit. Leavitt defended President Donald Trump and Elon Musk and their objectives last night on Sean Hannity's show, pointing out that former presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton both championed, and this is what I was talking about last hour. They talk a good game. They don't mean it, folks. Oh, they rattle on about, we're going to cut out waste and fraud and abuse. And now all they're doing is nitpicking the manner in which those that have decided to actually do something about it are accomplishing this task. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got a worthy clip. It's a little lengthy. It's a little longer than I like to play. But I'm going to play some of this audio between Stephen Miller and I don't know what her name is on Breonna Keller, I guess, on CNN. Hashtag never CNN. Keeler?
I think it's Keeler.
Breonna Keeler, who seems so confused about how the executive branch of government works. My favorite type of liberal deceit, and that's what it is, right? It's leftist media minion deceit. My favorite type of deceit is when they like to play dumb. When they just get so confused. I don't understand your ways. What are you doing? Like, what, who, and this one involves Breonna Keeler. Did I do it right that time?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Keeler. Breonna Keeler of hashtag never CNN, garbage network full of garbage people, including this lady. Don't watch, I'll watch so you don't have to. Saying, well, who runs Doge? Who runs it? But who runs it? But who's in charge? But who's the authority? Playing stupid. And I like to say on this radio show, lady, don't play dumb with me, for it is a game you shall not win. Wait a minute. I need to think on that. 20 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about your heat. Is it running? It better be, boy, because I'm looking at the temperatures, and they are going down, down, down. They are going to levels in the teens, right? And we're getting some snow, and that's going to create a strain on your heating system. I don't wish your heater to go out for any one of you, but somewhere in the sound of my voice, someone's heater's going to go out. What are you going to do about it? Do you know? If your heat goes out during these cold weather days and months, what do? I would encourage you to keep this number handy and this name handy. It's Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. And the number is 615-784-4424. Don't worry, I'll give that to you again. Jeff Eddy is big on results, and he understands if your heater goes out and it's cold, you need someone to your home, Jiffy Quick, to get it fixed at Jiffy Quick. You don't want to be upsold. You don't want to talk about a new unit, although when it's time, they're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. They're ready to talk about that. You want to get your heat back on, and they are focused, laser focused on just that task. And they're great at what they do. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Call today, 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net. When your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy.
All right, the leading edge of that winter storm is still not. It isn't in Tennessee yet. It's in the far northwest corner, but Memphis is still in the clear. Jackson, Clarksville still in the clear, although that northern edge of it is getting closer to Clarksville than any other place in Tennessee. And, of course, as I told you, it's dumping ice and snow on Little Rock. So we're tracking that. We'll tell you what NDOT crews in Nashville are ready for. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. I'm not going to say it. I was going to pick on Ken, but I'm not going to do it.
Why? Because I screwed up the tease?
No, not at all. I was going to say by the time Ken's done with the tease, it'll be in Nashville. I was like, Murphy, that's mean-spirited. Don't do that.
That's actually the truth.
No,
it caught me off guard.
You're the only reason people listen to this show, Weaver.
Yeah, right.
You, Weber, Matt Murphy, in that order. By the way, I do have official audio of Mark Hamill was asked about his pants drop. This is what he had to say.
Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
I guess he was just trying to show people the old lightsaber. So I guess that's what he was. That's what he was doing there.
A more civilized age.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age. Your lightsaber, sir.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I wonder what color it was. Well, they had different colors. You know, old Samuel Jackson got a purple one. What? He did. Anakin's was bright red.
Man, those Star Wars that Samuel Jackson was in, those stunk, man. Those movies were bad.
Yeah, they weren't the best.
I just like to say, hey, we need to do 3 more Star Wars movies. You guys got any ideas?
Y'all remember the build-up, though? I mean,
huge hype.
I mean, just so much excitement. They had Darth Maul as the new Vader was going to be Darth Maul, and we were so excited, and that was such a damn disappointment.
Yeah.
The whole bit was a disappointment. And oh my Lord, do we have to talk about, what are we talking about trade wars for? Trade wars? And
don't get me started on Jar Jar.
Yeah, Jar Jar Binks.
I just wish I could have been a fly on the wall, because you know that one guy, like there's George Lucas and all these muckety-mucks, multi-gajillionaires from the old days, and there's one, Smoot is sitting there. By the way, when I do these things, he's always Smoot. Smoot's in the corner. Sir, are we not at all concerned that Jar Jar Binks is reflective of a bygone era of slavery? And he's used. Shut up, Smoot! Nobody's gonna think that, you bozo.
What do you know?
What do you know, Smoot? Come on, y'all saw me. Uh-oh.
What are we going to name that pretty queen? Padme.
Pat a what?
Wasn't her name Padme?
Hey, and let's get the worst actor in history to play Anakin Skywalker. I mean, in all phases of his life. Kid, adult, whatever.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
I love you too, Padme.
I hate sand.
I think they need to redo those movies.
I thought the new ones. Let me tell you, Rogue One. The new ones are pretty good.
Rogue One is outstanding.
Rogue One is out there, and it goes to show you if you put on a good show, everybody knows the ending. Anybody that has ever watched Star Wars, everybody knows that everyone you're watching on screen is going to die.
Yes,
everyone's going to die because they say it in the original Star Wars. Everybody died.
Yep,
but it doesn't matter if it's a good story. It's a good story. Plus that ending. When you finally see Darth Vader again, and you just, oh my Lord, all the lights, don't get me started, all the lights go out, and you just hear the,
yep,
and you're like, uh-oh, he's about to screw some stuff up, and he does, boys.
I'd like to see Darth Vader and Jason Voorhees fight.
What? That's a crossover no one asked for.
I would.
Don't give George Lucas any ideas.
Not the little scrawny Jason Voorhees. Whenever he grew up to be 6'9", 350 pounds.
Didn't they put Freddie and Jason together at one point?
Yeah.
And Jason actually did go to space, I think, one time. So he's already been in space.
Huh. Well, there you go. I feel like Jason Voorhees ran his course. I mean, at some point he's just going to biodegrade, right?
Well, you think.
You would think. But he's mystical. He's magical or whatever. I'll tell you what's mystical and magical is the news, and it's happening right now. When we return, Caroline Levitt on Hannity last night, plus an incredible exchange between Breonna Keeler, who cares, and CNN and Stephen Miller. That's on the way next.
4:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. As I probably failed to tell you in a clear enough manner moments ago, that winter storm is still approaching from the west, and it is mixing with some ice in Little Rock right now as it continues to move this way. So the snow is expected to start falling in West Middle Tennessee around 5 o'clock. That's about another half hour here. Places like Clarksville, and then 8 o'clock here in Nashville. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now, Nashville Department of Transportation crews are loading salt and brine onto trucks equipped with plows, which they've been able to increase coverage by 800 more miles recently.
We made a few tweaks to some of the routes where, if something was left off or we identified another little section of a road that needed to be taken care of, we've added, or there may be a section that didn't meet the criteria that we may have adjusted and taken off a piece of a route.
Governor Bill Lee and other state leaders took first steps toward getting more federal funding and resources to help flood victims today. Their first stop was Clarksville, where some people's homes still have standing water in them. Governor Andy Beshear says flooding is to blame for 14 deaths in the Bluegrass State. Nearly 250 people rescued by helicopter yesterday in Marion County alone. Southern and eastern parts of the state getting the most damage, but Carrie Guy in Louisville says it's pretty bad there.
It looks like we're going to be probably displaced for about 10 days before we get back in, before the water level drops enough for us to get back into the houses.
More than 300 roads in Kentucky are still closed. More than 17,000 Kentuckians have no water. Hundreds are living in state parks, and 12 emergency shelters are open. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, we've got the usual slowdowns, but no crashes to report on the interstates. However, we do have a disabled vehicle going to be 40 westbound right here downtown, and that's in addition to already brake tapping going eastbound on 24 to get over to the 24-40 split. Northbound 65 is starting to back up, trying to get to the South Loop downtown. And I'm still seeing a little bit of issue out west here. This is 40 and Briley Parkway in the Nations area where some road construction's underway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Safe House. Nashville Safe House wants you to know that they are there for you when you need to protect yourself from, those that come into your home that want to take what is yours or through the threat of fire. And I'm here to tell you all about it. Attention, folks, because what you do to protect yourself is you buy, through your Second Amendment rights, you buy a gun. Well, how do you protect that gun? How do you protect the people and your property? You do that by buying a wonderful safe from Nashville Safe House. If you are not sure what you want, if you're not sure the type of safe that you're looking for, I encourage you to go to Nashville Safe House. Talk to Mark and one of his team because they can help identify the safe that's right for you, the size that's right for you, whether you're looking for a gun safe, a corporate safe for your business, a jewelry safe, something a little bit smaller. They have every make and model imaginable, over 200 safes on property and over 400 in their warehouses. They have the right safe for you. Whether it's a Browning safe or perhaps Fort Knox, Champion, Superior, Rhino, whatever it might be, They've got it, and they've got it in stock, and one of their professional delivery crews that are hired by the Safe House will deliver it to your home, not some third party where you don't know who's inside of your home. Gun safes are always sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafehouse.com or 4th Avenue South in Nashville. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy, USS stands for United Structural Systems. United Structural Systems, simply put, is the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair, waterproofing, or concrete leveling at your home. Now, a lot of snow coming, right? I mean, we know that. I mean, 4 or 5 inches, depending on where you live. Maybe a little bit more in the upper plains or upper plateau, if you will. Bottom line is this. With all of that snow, melt will come. And when the melt comes, is it coming into your home? Do you have waterproofing issues inside of your home? If so, these things are not going to go away on themselves, or by themselves, I should say. You need assistance. You need the professionals of USS. If you've got standing water in your crawl space, if you smell musty odors or mildewy odors inside of your home, that is an example of possible waterproofing issues. And once again, these can lead to foundation issues and health concerns for you and your family. Homeowners simply trust USS. They've been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994. Over 30 years of service to our community. Call them today at 615-488-7855, 488-7855. USS, serving Middle Tennessee with professionalism since 1994. USSTN.com. 37 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Oh, a lot of you on the old YouTube TV side of things. I'm looking at. I got the YouTube TV feed up, and I've got the Super Talk feed up. The Super Talk feed, they're all talking about Star Wars and the worst parts of Star Wars.
A lot of them, man.
And there's a lot of bad parts. Jar Jar Binks is in the lead with a bullet. Right behind him is Anakin. What was it? Hayden Christensen,
yes.
Just the worst actor in the history of.
Yeah, pretty stiff.
It's just bad. Yeah. And so that's on the Super Text line. On the YouTube line, they're talking about how much they wish it was spring. Well, I have the guy that can tell us when that's happening. And his name is Dan Thomas. He is with WSMV Channel 4, and he joins us on the Matt Murphy hotline to give us the full skinny as to what we can expect over the next 24 hours or so. Dan, thank you for your time. I know it's a busy day for you. How are you, sir?
It's all good, Matt. I'm doing great. Time now about 4:40, so we're tracking this by the minute. And if you know where Murray, Kentucky is, so that's up in Callaway County, probably 30, 40 minutes west of Hopkinsville, snow is now reaching the ground. So it's coming in. It's on its way toward Clarksville. I think in the next 30 minutes it reaches Paris, Tennessee. Later on this evening, probably between 7 and 8 o'clock tonight, I think the first flurries get going in Nashville. I think the more meaningful snow is probably around 9. And I think it snows probably for about 6 to 8 hours steadily and consistently at varying rates. And then because another storm is going to develop off the eastern seaboard, off the Carolinas tomorrow, I think it shuts down very quickly early tomorrow morning. So given all that, given the fact that this is not going to be a massive low-pressure system in the Gulf of Mexico, but still it's a winter storm, I think it's a light to moderate snowfall here in the mid-state. Wake-up time tomorrow, sunrise time, I think the bulk of the mid-state sees 2 to 4 inches. More than that, north and west of the I-40 corridor. So I'm saying, like, if you can picture the I-40 corridor, obviously that runs right through Nashville, and north and south by probably 30 to maybe 40 miles, that's generally 2 to 4 inches. North and west of there, we're going to do 4 to 6. And then south and east of there, we'll do generally 1 to 2. There'll be a couple of spots that underperform, a couple of spots that overperform, but generally 2 to 4 should do it in Nashville. So if I'm calling The airport in Nashville, you want a specific amount. I'd say, just pulling a number out of my hat right now, I'd say 3.4 is what they'll measure when it's all said and done.
I love Dan Thomas. He's not willing to go there. I mean, you're just 3.4 inches, Nashville Airport, boom.
And to be clear, I don't know if you know this or your listeners realize this or not. When I'm forecasting like 3 inches versus 4 inches of snow, that's like saying, because there's a 10-to-1 ratio, water to solid equivalent, that's like saying we'll get 0.3 inches of rain or 0.4 inches of rain. You know, it's splitting hairs.
That's a pinpoint. That's a pinpoint accurate forecast.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, it's first alert all the way.
So, I mean, it feels like this is almost perfect for, I won't say everybody, because some people like Ken Weaver just hate snow, Dan. I mean, they just hate it all. They want it all to go away. But for those who are looking for one more, maybe one last, I don't know, I wouldn't say that this is the last necessarily, but one little snowfall, you're going to get it. You're going to have enough snow. The kids are going to enjoy it. But for those who want to be able to travel at some point later on in the day, maybe tomorrow or the next day, it looks like it won't be enough to impede that sort of stuff.
Here's the deal. I don't know how far your range is, Matt, but southern Kentucky, northernmost Middle Tennessee, probably stay treacherous nonstop. Because it's so cold to start and it's going to just get colder. Southern Middle Tennessee, down toward the Tennessee-Alabama line, is going to be a little more wet to start. So it's a damper snow. I think temperatures won't be as cold tomorrow afternoon there. So, pre-treated roads will be in much better shape there than it will be across Southern Kentucky. Southern Kentucky is going to be like Northwest Arkansas, where it's just white on Interstate 65 and 24 north of the state line. Nashville is between those two extremes. And so I think interstates, I think the main roads actually start to improve because temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s and the product works then. So I think we'll be in better shape the deeper into the day we go, but don't hold off. Once the evening sets in, it's going to get crazy cold as the Arctic air takes over. And then Thursday's a really difficult day to travel because it's just so cold. So whatever melted has refrozen then.
Right, and you mentioned the temperatures because we don't expect, when do we expect it to get above freezing to melt some of this stuff?
Part of the area may do so on Friday, but most of the area is going to hold off until Saturday. So.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be around for a couple of days.
Here, so. Yeah, exactly.
Anything else, Dan? I mean, anything else we need to know?
Just driving tips. I mean, we just had a massive flooding event, and there was like 1,000 water rescues in Kentucky. So the more we go over the stuff that people already know, the more they'll actually do it, and that is avoid hills. If you have two ways to get somewhere, if you can choose a completely flat route, if you do have to travel, it's going to serve you way better. When you introduce roads into the picture and there's an accumulation of snow, anything can happen, and I don't think you want any of the possibilities there.
Dan Thomas with WSMV4. Dan, thank you so much. And by the way, I'd be remiss if I did not mention what a great job you guys did the other night during that storm system that did move through and dumped so much water on northern Tennessee. Well, on all of us, but particularly northern Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Just great job by your television station, as always. You guys do a fine job over there.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dan. There's Dan Thomas, WSMV, Channel 4, giving us the rundown, official rundown. 3.4 inches of snow at B&A Airport. That's what the man said.
I like that.
I mean,
Very
look,
specific.
He's not afraid of it. Just let's be held to account here. Let's go. Let's make it happen. There you go. And nothing. I'm looking at my handy dandy. I'm looking at my temperature gauge for the next several days on my my phone, because that's my official weather center over here. Mm-hmm. Dan would not like to hear this, but it is what it is. Tomorrow it gets up to 30 with a low tonight of 19. So that's Wednesday, high of 30 tomorrow afternoon. Then Wednesday night, tomorrow night, it gets down to 13 and a high Thursday of 24 degrees. Not up above freezing for the high until Friday, where it gets into Nashville at about 35 degrees, and then up to 42 on Saturday, 49 by Sunday. So, heck, Sunday, that's golfing weather, 49 degrees.
And get a little sunshine.
Oh, nice. Yeah, sure. Just get out there and just play with your golf balls. So 44 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7. I almost said something else. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Caroline Levitt, last night, Sean Hannity, this is what she had to say.
That we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending.
We'll prove that we can spend the money we have in an appropriate way and stop wasting so much of it.
But over the next several months,
we will be looking at every other agency and program, asking the direct question, do we really need this agency?
Wow, they wanted to be Donald Trump, but they weren't able to pull it off. What's your reaction?
That's exactly right, Sean. If you just watched that video but shut your eyes and listened to the words from those Democrat politicians, you would think you are listening to President Trump, Elon Musk, and our entire administration, who are saying the exact same things that Democrat politicians promised the American people they would do for decades. President Trump is just the first president in our lifetimes to actually do it.
That's exactly right. Right. There's Caroline Leavitt on Sean Hannity last night, Fox News Channel, courtesy of. Barack Obama said it. You heard Bill Clinton talking about it. One of the voices there, Tennessee's own Al Gore. I know y'all are proud of him. He said it as well. Democrats have given lip service to this, as I mentioned, over the last 25 years of me doing this job since 2000, but they never anticipated anyone actually doing something about it. It seems, had they anticipated that, maybe they would be a little more behind it. Instead, they want to nitpick this to death. Today, Stephen Miller, and I'm going to play a game. Occasionally, I play a game of stop start. And apologies to those of you who hate it. I know some of you do. That's where we start audio, we stop it, we comment on it, we start, we stop, we stop, we stop. Here's Stephen Miller. What an incredible exchange with Breonna Keeler. I'm going Chris Webber here. And Chris Webber says Keeler. Mama calls her Keeler. I'm going to call her Keeler. So Breonna Keeler. Stephen Miller can't help but laugh, attempting to explain to Breonna Keeler of CNN, who is either dumb or acting dumb, how government works, how the Constitution works, how Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution of the United States of America works. Stephen Miller, one of my favorites in the Trump administration, on CNN.
Chief of Staff for Policy. Stephen, thank you so much for taking time for us. So who is in charge of DOJ?
The President of the United States.
He's the administrator of DOJ?
No, the DOJ is what was formerly U.S. Digital Services. It's an agency of the federal government that reports into the office of the Executive Office of the President, which reports to the President of the United States.
Okay.
The way that Article 2 works is a president wins an election, and then he appoints staff, including myself, including Mike Waltz, including Susie Wiles,
yes,
including Elon Musk, and those staff report to him.
I love this. She's already shaking her head with let's move on. What I love about these liberal anchors on these networks is the Trump administration staff, whether it's Caroline Leavitt, whether it's Tom Homan, whether it's Stephen Miller, and on it goes, whether it's Marco Rubio with Margaret Brennan over the weekend. I've got that clip coming up for you. They ask these asinine questions, and they get answers that they don't like. They think they play a game of gotcha, right? Who runs DOJ? And she wants him to say Elon Musk. Oh, well, he's not been elected. He's acting like a king. Like they're playing this media game where the leftist in the Democrat wings and Democrat circles in Washington, D.C. are screaming, oh, Elon Musk was not elected to anything. No, of course he wasn't. Donald Trump was. And so they play this game. Who runs DOJ? Well, the President of the United States. The President is the administrator? No. Every part of the executive branch of government is answerable to whom? The President of the United States. As Stephen Miller, in a mildly condescending way, rightly so, explains to her.
Okay.
The way that Article 2 works is a president wins an election, and then he appoints staff, including myself, including Mike Waltz, including Susie Wiles,
yes,
including Elon Musk, and those staff report to him.
Okay, well aware. So Elon Musk...
Well, if you were well aware, ma'am, why did you ask the question? My favorite thing is when they play dumb, they come off looking dumb, they get good answers to dumb questions. Oh, we're aware of that. Well, then why did you ask me? Ma'am?
A week ago answered a question about transparency at DOJ. This is how he spoke about DOJ.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent.
All right, now, so before she goes in, guess where she's going here. So Elon Musk said we're trying to be as transparent as possible. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. Listen to the asinine stupidity of this woman's question.
You hear him there. We post our actions. All of our actions are maximally transparent. Does Elon Musk know he's not in charge of Doge?
All right, so this is her line of question. She is wasting the American people's time, and Stephen Miller is going to come at her on this point in just a second. So she started the line of questions. He answered the question. Who's in charge of Doge? Donald Trump. Donald Trump's in charge of all parts of the executive branch of government. He is in charge of the executive office of the President of the United States. He's my boss. He's Susie Wiles' boss. All of the cabinet members, whether they have to be confirmed by the Senate or those administrative positions that do not, Donald Trump's in charge of those too. Donald Trump's the boss. And she doubles down on it as if he did not give her that answer. Well, does Elon Musk know that he's not in charge? Yeah, he does.
Again, the president runs the government, then the president appoints advisors, including Elon, including myself, including all the other staff here at the White House, and then those staff in turn execute the president's commands and directions to all the agencies of the federal government. This is how democracy works, something that we treasure in America. The whole American people go to the ballot box, they elect the president appoints staff, the staff that administer his orders and directives across the whole U.S. government.
Okay, Stephen, I get that, but this is important because we want to talk about who's making the decisions here. There were 300 employees, the National Nuclear Security Administration, you know about this. They were fired. The agency had to rescind those terminations because these were employees who were critical to maintaining the nation's...
All right, we're going to get into these nuclear employees in just a moment. She dives into that, and Stephen Miller's got a great response. This happened earlier today on #NeverCNN. Nobody watches this network. I know you don't. I do, so you don't have to. And so we're sharing this with you as a result. It's 52 after the hour. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It was my pleasure to meet Dr. Stephen Poss a number of years ago when I first came to Middle Tennessee. I sat down with him in his offices and at the time did not believe that I was a potential client for the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Sometime later, I saw Dr. Poss in Hendersonville at an event with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I said, I'm not sleeping well. He said, Matt, have you had a sleep test? I said, I don't snore that much. He goes, some of our clients don't. Up to 25% of the people that have sleep apnea, mild to moderate, they don't snore significantly. I got a sleep test, and lo and behold, I do have sleep apnea. And now I have a great FDA-approved device created by Dr. Stephen Poss and Dr. Brian McLaughlin. They create this device that is specific to your mouth, that holds the jaw gently forward, allows you to breathe better at night, allows you to sleep better at night. You don't snore if you're a snorer, and it prevents you from that stop breathing time that causes energy loss in the mornings. You sleep better, you're healthier, I'm telling you, every aspect of this is a game changer. And for most of us in Tennessee, they are in insurance. So if you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, you don't have to worry about that either. 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Find out more at drposs.com. That's drposs.com.
A federal judge refuses to block Doge access to 7 federal agencies. We'll tell you about it at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Why, thank you, Mr. Ken Weaver. There he is in the newsroom, News Closet B, we call it. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm over in Studio A. Between us, separating us by appropriate panes of glass, is Chris Webber. And we're almost at halftime, man.
Yeah.
I like that. And then the snow's coming.
Yeah, it's almost Clarksville.
Almost. You think, how far down I-20? You know what? I-24 should be as clean as you can imagine by the time you go on home, Brother Ken Weaver.
Let's not talk about it.
I mean, I just think you're in for a great ride. I believe
Stop it.
That. I know, I believe it.
You got to knock on wood. You can't start talking about I-24 in a good way.
Oh, the I-24 gods will hear us.
Yeah.
And they'll...
Just like that fellow that got up and left in the middle of your monologue.
Yep. Hey.
You had enough of that.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't blame him. I would have left, too.
No, it is getting close to Clarksville.
Yeah, well, it's coming. It's on the way,
I hope
baby.
they got their bread and eggs.
Yeah, I'm talking about. What are you talking about? I mean, people are spending the mortgage on eggs and milk and bread, bacon, all that other. I mean, particularly bread and milk for some reason. I don't know why, but bread and milk. Halfway home, I'll give you the rest of the Stephen Miller conversation with Brianna Keeler coming up in just a moment. It is so satisfying. Plus, your telephone call, 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show. Super Talk.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Snow is expected to start any moment now in Clarksville. About 8 o'clock in Nashville. Right now, the snow in Tennessee is all north of 40, all the way back to Memphis. It is now falling in Memphis, but even back behind that, I've been telling y'all all day today, Little Rock is getting ice mixed with its snow. We do not need any of that ice. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. A federal judge will not block Doge from accessing federal data systems at 7 federal agencies. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan says the plaintiffs, 14 Democrat-led states, have failed to show that they will suffer imminent, irreparable harm without relief. Chutkan noted fears and speculation alone are not enough to curtail Doge access. She says plaintiffs must prove clearly and with evidence that their workings have met the hard-to-satisfy, she says, test of permanent or irreparable harm. Meanwhile, President Trump signing another round of executive orders today, including one on policy for IVF treatments. Mary Alice Parks.
We don't know yet what the policy will be. I think it's important to note that this EO he signed really is asking for policy recommendations for agencies to look into ways they might be able to make IVF fertility treatments more affordable for Americans. We know thousands of American families pay thousands of dollars for fertility treatments.
After signing the executive orders, and President Trump is known to do and will do, he started taking questions, praising his tariffs.
And we'll be announcing various very large companies, the biggest actually, and they'll be coming back having to do with chips and having to do also with cars and lots of other things.
Trump struck an optimistic tone about his talks with Russia to end the war on Ukraine.
Well, much more confident. They were very good. Russia wants to do something. They want to stop the savage barbarianism. I mean, what's going on over there? It's soldiers are being killed by the thousands on a weekly basis. It's ridiculous.
But will it take U.S. troops?
If we have a peace deal, I think having troops over there from the standpoint of Europe, we won't have to put any over there because, we're very far away. But having troops over there would be fine. I would not object to it at all.
An investigation getting underway into the plane crash in Toronto yesterday. Toronto Pearson Airport CEO Deborah Flint.
Members of the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration are also here on site participating in the investigation. As it is a Mitsubishi aircraft, Mitsubishi will be here on site as well. And Delta Airlines has sent their GO team who are already here on site.
Pearson says 19 passengers have left the hospital to remain with non-life-threatening injuries. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Everybody's doing a great job out there. I don't see a crash on any of the interstates here in Nashville. We just got the usual brake tapping going on. It is especially slow eastbound 24 all the way down to Bell Road. Then you've got eastbound 440 over to the 40-24 split. Northbound 65 backing up to get to the South Loop downtown. And still out west, over in the Nations, I'm seeing a backup on Briley Parkway to either, actually, it looks like it's a backup to get to Briley Parkway from I-40. Could be vice versa. But what I'm seeing is a lot of traffic backup over there in the Nations near Briley Parkway and I-40. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Welcome back. 5:07. Hope you're doing well. Many of you just off work, anticipating the snow that is soon to come. Dan Thomas of WSMV Channel 4, along with Ken Weaver back in the newsroom, they've both been alerting us throughout the course of the day as to when we can expect this snow to come in. And as Thomas mentioned at 4:35, 4:38, thereabouts when we spoke with him last, when it comes, it's going to be here and it's going to snow for some length of time. Expect that the snowfall will come in, depending on where you live, 8-ish o'clock or so. And then it will snow throughout the course of the night and eventually ending tomorrow. dumping 2 to 4 inches of snow. He mentioned, and believe it or not, I listen. Dan Thomas said, about a 20-mile path north of I-40 and a 20-mile path south of I-40, so about a 40-mile swath along I-40. That you should expect about 2 to 4 inches. If you're a little north of that 20-mile corridor, then you are going to get a little more snow, maybe 4 to 6 inches, especially if you're west of Nashville. If you are a little south, particularly east, you're going to see a little less, maybe 1 to 2 inches. But everybody within the sound of our voice, it sounds like, is going to get some snow.
And it's always a little bit, causes a little anxiety, to me at least, when you have snow that is coming in the overnight hours, because you really never know. Like, okay, it's going to get 2 to 4 inches, but I could wake up tomorrow morning and there'd be
12.
You never know.
Ken Weaver, we could have 12 inches tomorrow. That's what Chris Webber just said.
No. That's vulgar.
Nasty talk.
That's nasty. It's nasty talk.
Some on the afternoon show like snow better than others,
obviously,
and I think we know who's who.
Chad loves it.
And I become a kid when it snows. I've not experienced. Say, look, some of us did not live in Idaho for 10 years.
That's right.
Yeah. And I spent one winter in the north in Connecticut,
and it only took one, right?
And it only took one. And listen, folks, I lived 9.5 months in Connecticut. And let me tell you, if you go to the doctor, God forbid, and the doctor tells you you only have 9 months to live, move to Connecticut. Move to Connecticut. Because by the time the 9 months is over, you'll want to die.
I was getting ready to say, man, I've got to ask you sometime about your experiences in Connecticut.
They didn't ask me what part of the South I was from. They asked me what part of Georgia. And when I grew up in Georgia, I didn't think I had an accent.
Right.
Then you move to Connecticut, and every damn body's got an accent, except for me. But they think I'm the only one with an accent.
Well, they've got that Yankee accent.
Go to the bar, have the car, clam chowder. Yeah, that's how they do. Yeah, see?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all gangsters from the 20s? Is that what they are?
We're on the lam, see? That's what he talked to me.
On the lamb.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Now, take that, copper, yeah. So
look at the gams on that one.
You boys are speaking my language.
Yeah, look at those dames, yeah, see? So there's some snow coming in, and, I don't know what to tell you. If you love it, good for you. I become a kid. You dig it, right?
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. So 2 fans and 1 not so fan.
I don't like it.
Did you not like it before you moved to Idaho, or were you non-committed?
See, Idaho snow wasn't that bad. I mean, I just didn't like the cold and how long it was cold, June.
Yeah.
And the snow there is dry. It was never ice.
How long it was cold, June.
And so it was okay. But, I mean, as we know here in the South, man, that snow turns into ice fast. And ice is, that's no bueno.
No.
That's no good.
That's true.
Nobody can drive on ice
there, no.
unless you have the proper equipment. You can't drive on ice.
Right.
You can slide on ice. You can't drive. Yeah, you can drive in the snow if you know what you're doing.
Now, if I'm sitting in a nice rustic cabin, with a big old warm fire going, and I don't have anything to do, let it snow all day.
That's what I get. Why do you like snow so much? That just means you have to work.
Right.
Right. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it is true.
Yeah. I don't get to enjoy it.
We are expected to. I would expect that you are. You're coming back in tomorrow. I mean, you have to come back in, and then you'll go home and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't expect that we'll have any travel issues.
I don't think so. I mean, the road crews. I give them credit. They do a great job around here. We've kind of figured out how to handle this type of weather.
They're getting lots of practice.
I wish that we could figure out the potholes.
That's the thing. Man.
And I have not done a deep enough dive on it. I need to do a deeper dive on it. Why is it? And we're told that, we just live in that part of the world where it gets hot enough in the summer that it does stuff. But they never tell you what does it do? Like, it does stuff to the concrete and the asphalt there, and then when it gets cold, it cracks it and it gets all cold and it contracts or whatever. And we just live in that zone where it gets cold enough and hot enough where potholes.
Right.
And that sounds like a big load of garbage. It sounds like a load of crap to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't it to everybody else? Yeah. Like, it gets really cold in Minnesota. Do they have potholes all the time? I mean, maybe they do.
Probably
I don't know.
do. Yeah.
Maybe they do, yeah.
No, Murphy. It gets real cold up there, so somebody told me this one time. No, they use a blend of asphalt different from ours. Oh, really? Do they? Oh, okay. Well, why don't we use that blend? Well, because it gets hot, you see. Oh.
You see, in the summer, it gets hot.
Okay.
And, then in the winter, it gets cold, and then you have potholes.
Uh-huh. Right.
That's basically what
they say.
Summer blend, huh?
Like, yeah, if we were living in Orlando, see, we would just use the hot blend of asphalt, and we'd be fine. And if we live in Canada, we use the cold blend, and we'd be fine. But see, here it's tricky. What? I mean, I swear to you, I've had these conversations.
It does get hot in the north too.
That's what
I don't know if those people know that.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah,
that's what I'm told. Brian says Detroit is full of potholes. Well, Detroit's a crap hole. I mean,
weather has nothing to do with that.
All right, Minnesota 2663 says Minnesota has 2 seasons: winter and road construction.
Well, maybe they do have potholes.
I mean, I do understand that you can't do top layer of asphalt in the cold.
Right. It has to be a certain temperature.
Right. Yeah. So it has to be right. So you can't permanently resolve the issue. I just don't understand why the issues keep coming up. It doesn't. Why can't you do something that would last more than a season? Because I remember when I first got here and the loop was so awful, all these potholes on the loop. And then that spring, I got here in December. And that March or April, they're paving the loop. And I went, well, there you go. Must not have done that for 10 or 15 years. And now that's going to be solved for a good amount of time. Wrong. No, they're all over the place.
Yep.
And they will destroy your car.
Yeah, they will.
9919 says, I'm from Buffalo, lived over 20 years in both places. And believe me, y'all have never seen a pothole.
All righty.
Okay. I guess we should quit grumping. Be careful what we wish for. We just might get it. All right. As promised, I'm going to deliver the final portion of this exchange. If you're just joining us in the 5 o'clock hour, thank you for being here. If you're on your way home, we'll try to get you home safe and sound, let you know where the problem areas on the roadways are. Ken Weaver does some of that for us over in the traffic center. We got folks over there doing that as well. So we'll get to that. We'll get to news headlines as well. We've been covering some of the latest on the liberal reaction to DOJ. They seem to be trying to nitpick this thing to death, demonstrating to me that they never had any intentions over the last 25 or 30 years of doing anything about government waste, fraud, and abuse. They just like to give lip service to it. And so one of their minions in the mainstream media, in the form of CNN's Brianna Keeler, is demanding of Stephen Miller that he explain themselves because the Department of Government Efficiency had the audacity of firing the wrong people. They made a mistake.
To administer his orders and directives across the whole U.S. government.
Okay, Stephen, I get that, but this is important because we want to talk about who's making the decisions here. There were 300 employees, the National Nuclear Security Administration. You know about this. They were fired. The agency had to rescind those terminations because these were employees who were critical to maintaining the nation's nuclear stockpile. So then who is it making those decisions of which federal employees are terminated?
Well, in that case, the Secretary of Energy would be the one. So what you're describing with the cuts in the Department of Energy, those are directed by the Senate-confirmed Secretary of Energy.
So obviously, Brianna Keeler did not expect this answer. It is an entirely appropriate answer. Once again, as we were talking about last hour when we played the first portion of this clip, Stephen Miller's been very clear. I mean, it's not that hard to understand. The executive branch of government is run by whom? I mean, even those of you listening in Aniana can get this answer. The president. And he empowers through certain cabinet level positions and through other administrative positions, he empowers individuals to enact his executive branch policy, to enact his priorities in the executive branch, whether it's Robert F. Kennedy for the Department of Health and Human Services or in the energy sector, or whether it's Doug, what's his name? Doug Burgum with the Department of Interior. They enact the policies of the President of the United States of America. So ultimately, the boss is always the president. And she's trying to hang her talking point on him admitting that someone else is making no, the buck stops with the press. Isn't that the way that we wanted it? It seems to me that the liberals in mainstream media are desperate to convince us that someone else is making the decisions. I thought we wanted it, Harry Truman, right? Democrat. The buck stops here. Maybe not so much with Brianna.
Okay, so that was the Secretary of Energy's mistake.
Well, I wouldn't use the term mistake. I would say that it's pretty standard when you're downsizing government. You make cuts, you assess those cuts, you see who needs to be rehired, who needs to be kept, who needs to be
That's not what happened here, though, Stephen. You know that they were rescinded. These aren't normal things. These were terminations that were rescinded.
I understand that even a temporary interruption in federal employment is a great crisis and catastrophe for you and for CNN. What the American people see is a government that is finally delivering a promise of accountability under President Trump. You want to have a conversation about transparency. Let me ask you a question. Do you have any idea where the $22 billion that the Department of Health and Human Services provided to illegal aliens under Joe Biden is right now? $22 billion with a B. That's enough to provide a free house to every homeless veteran in America. Where's the $22 billion? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Joe Biden just spent it, and now it's gone. Transparency begins with having an accounting of where every federal dollar is spent. And God bless President Trump for leading this effort.
Stephen, it seems like the crisis here had to do with the nation's nuclear stockpile. And for these particular federal workers, which I'm not, so this isn't my personal crisis, military members of the Guard
I don't
and the
think
Reserve.
it's a crisis,
well,
and you don't think it's
well,
hold on. I don't think
no,
it's a crisis,
Stephen,
and you don't think it's a crisis. Then why are we talking about it?
So they go. This goes on for another 30 seconds, where Stephen Miller's like, "Wait a minute. So you don't think it's a crisis? I don't think it's a crisis. Why are we talking about this?" And Brianna Keeler eventually tells him that I'll talk about what I want on my show. So it devolves. Why are they talking about this? Now, I understand. Now, Stephen Miller might not say that a mistake was made. Sure, I mean, if you want to call it that, that's fine. The Department of Energy was attempting to cut people. They recognized that some of their cuts went a little too deep. They rescinded some of those cuts, got those people back on board. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. Do we believe that any of these questions would be happening if this were a Democrat administration? Of course, none of the cuts would be happening. We know that. But would they be parsing the language? Would they be dissecting some of this stuff if this were a Democrat administration? Of course they wouldn't. They don't do that. Suddenly, they found the ability to answer or ask questions again and demand answers. That's all fine. But you don't get to dictate what the answers are going to be, Brianna Keeler. You ask a question, Stephen Miller will give an answer. She becomes argumentative to the point that I wonder if she is not, well, she is a Democrat. We know that. That's Stephen Miller earlier today on CNN battling Brianna Keeler, having to defend every aspect of trying to cut government, a government that is $37 trillion in debt and overspends by about $1 trillion annually. And if we do not get it under control, I know, you know what? I know it's been talked to death. I understand that. I understand that we've heard a lot about it. It is the most important aspect of what is going on in the world right now. In the world. With the possible exception of what J.D. Vance was talking about last Friday. I'll give you more on that in a moment. It's 21 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief is located in Franklin. Within the sound of my voice, I strongly encourage you. If you are tired of living in pain, if you feel like no one is listening to you, if no one understands the aspect of your pain, or perhaps they don't seem to want to and they try to put a cookie-cutter approach on top of it, let's get with the Dr. Gill Center. You've got choices when it comes to your care. And at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief, they do things differently. They take the time to listen, to understand. They want to personalize your care. So if it hurts on your back, your neck, your knee, your hip, your elbow, your shoulders, anywhere on your person, they're going to figure out the causal effects, why it's hurting, and they will get to work. Whether it's spinal decompression, which Dr. Gill brought to our community over 30 years ago, red light therapy, a Class 5 laser system, whatever it might be, chiropractic care in general, they can help you. Friends, let's work together to eliminate your pain and become pain-free together. Go to callmepainfree.com online, callmepainfree.com online, or don't take a pill. Call Dr. Gill and the Dr. Gill Center, 615-882-4838, 882-4838.
A federal judge told 14 Democratic states today you can't block Doge just because you're scared. Details at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 26 after 5 right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being around with us. So, Kevin O'Leary, I don't know that I liked Kevin O'Leary that much when I first saw Shark Tank. I admit I haven't watched that show very much. You watched that show?
I did back years ago. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but
same.
I guess O'Leary was on there at the beginning, and Cuban was on there at the beginning, and the one short-haired chick. I mean, not she. I shouldn't have called her a chick.
Yeah, I can't think of her name either.
I get in trouble. Don't laugh at me, Weaver. Well, am I going to get in trouble? Ken Weaver is my Ken Weaver's my censorship czar. Am I going to get canceled?
Well, 14 Democratic states have sued to block my decision.
Barbara Corcoran is her name.
Yes. So I haven't watched, but I don't know that I care for Kevin O'Leary. But I'm in love with Kevin O'Leary now that I watch him more and more on CNN. I love how he freaks the CNN panels out.
I think the issue is they're not whacking enough. There's this concept in private equity when you get a bankrupt company and you go in there, you cut 20% more than your initial read. And then you find like a pool of mercury, the organization gels back together again. Always cut deeper, harder when there's fat and waste. The FAA, it's not the people. The code is cobalt. It's from the 60s. It needs CapEx put into it for the technology to be upgraded to make it safer. Fat, like a chicken. All of these agencies are like big fat chickens dripping over barbecues of fat. This is the best barbecue I've ever seen, but I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms. Cut, more cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great. Everybody should be happy
with the nuclear codes, cut them too?
Cut everything. Because if you don't see what they're doing and they can't show you that they're adding value, you whack.
Oh, my goodness.
And I think they might change the codes after they fire people with the codes.
Well, that's right. I mean, and you know what? The liberals love to hang on. They find one little thing to hang on, and they just hang on to that. And they ignore the overall issue that government has gotten too bloated, too fat. Look, not every government employee is fat and bloated. Not every government employee is useless. Not every government – I mean, a lot of government employees are very useful. We talked to one last night. And she took exception with me saying that government employees were entitled. I stand by that statement, and we had a good conversation about it, but she was frustrated that I would refer to all government employees as entitled. I don't believe that all of them are entitled, but on the whole, we have to speak in generalities sometimes on this radio show, and we do. But obviously, there are essential government employees. Obviously, there are people that are doing work that is necessary to the function of the United States of America. And the FAA is an easy example. But what liberals are doing, they're suggesting that because the FAA cut 400 employees out of a staff of 45,000, liberals today, on networks today, claimed that because 400 staffers were fired, that's what happened in Toronto. They did it today. And that is a lie from the pit of hell. And they know that it's a lie. A lie is something that you say that you know not to be true at the time that you say it. And these people are smart enough to know that cutting 400 staffers out of a 45,000 employee pool in no way impacted Toronto and this plane flipping over. But they say it anyway. Well, what about, and they say it in these cutesy ways. Well, you know, it just so happens that they cut major cuts in the FAA on the same day that this, I mean, could these things be connected? We just don't know. Yes, we do. Oh, boy, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to go get myself a Diet Dr. Pepper while Ken Weaver does the deal. I'm going to have a delicious Diet Dr. Pepper, and that's going to calm my my stomach down. Here's the news from Ken Weaver on Super Talk 99.7 WT.
5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and that snow is starting to fall in parts of Clarksville now, just like we thought it would in the 5 o'clock hour. It's expected to start falling in Nashville around 8 o'clock tonight. We got the full forecast and traffic here in 5 minutes. Nashville Department of Transportation crews are pre-treating roads for the snow. Brendan Tierney over at Channel 4 says, well, he was reporting earlier today from the big salt barn over there in East Nashville.
And they have 40 trucks out here that all have plows and salt getting loaded into the back of them, like the ones that are lined up right here. They've already been out on the road pre-treating them, and once the snow starts falling, they'll be working 12-hour shifts until every road is clear.
Governor Lee and TEMA leaders touring flood-damaged areas of the state today. Their first stop was Clarksville, where more than 24 people had to be rescued on Sunday, and some people's homes still has water standing in them. Lee says they're assessing the damage in order to determine need, and that FEMA has reached out twice already to be of assistance. A federal judge in Washington today denied 14 Democratic states' request to block the Department of Government Efficiency from accessing data in half a dozen departments. The judge, in her ruling, says these states failed to show that they will suffer imminent irreparable harm without relief. Judge Tanya Chutkan noted fears and speculation alone are not enough. Plaintiffs have to prove clearly and with evidence that their workings have met the, as she put it, hard-to-satisfy test of permanent or irreparable harm. It comes as White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt had to explain again today the role of Elon Musk.
DOGE does not have statutory authority. We've been very clear about that. Again, DOGE is advising these agencies. It's ultimately up to the discretion of these secretaries to make these hirings and these firings. And again, everybody is working as one team.
Earlier today, the Food and Drug Administration Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, Jim Jones, quit because he reportedly was upset over the firing of about 89 people. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Downtown got a stalled vehicle, and it is partially blocking the on-ramp 24 westbound from Chevy Avenue. And then in Berry Hill, we've got a crash blocking the right shoulder 65 northbound at I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Inches of snow around Nashville. Cold air settles in on Thursday and Friday. Morning lows in the single digits and teens.
There are a lot of diagnoses out there. I mean, there's a pill for everything, and everybody wants to tell you what's wrong with what's going on. Well, when it comes to your automobile, not all diagnoses are accurate. Hey, it's Matt Murphy, and when you get a diagnosis for European auto repair, get a second opinion before you make a major decision, particularly if you're not going to Eurofix. Now, I don't understand why you wouldn't go to Eurofix in the first place, but here's the deal. Eurofix is the home for second opinion. Before you spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on European vehicle repair from a diagnosis, go to Eurofix. It can not only save your vehicle's life, it could save you a lot of stress that would ruin your day or your weekend. Life's too short to get stressed and angry. Be happy. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection with an estimate at every visit. Never a high-pressure sales pitch. They just tell you what's the deal and what's wrong. You also get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every appointment. How about these 5 locations? They're in Murfreesboro, 100 Oaks, Franklin, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or go to myEurofix.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to myEurofix.com. It is the Matt Murphy Show, 38 minutes after the hour. Ken Weaver, Chris Webber, Matt Murphy, and you. Thank you for being around. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative. We're here for the full 4 hours. At least I'm here for 4 hours. Ken's here for longer than that. Chris Webber, he's here for longer than 4, for less than Ken. Some a nice little middle ground there. Is that fair?
I'm here as long as I have to be.
You know what?
Yeah.
You are always on the clock, my friend. Always on the clock. I text early in the morning and late at night, and you know what? I'll always get the same response.
Yep, that emoji. That one-fingered emoji.
Is that not your thumb? I thought that was a thumb.
Oh, yes. It's a thumb. My bad. I was thinking the wrong finger.
I need to relook at that.
It's a thumb, sure.
Coming up, I'm going to give you a diagnosis of in totality, what happened last week and into this week in Germany is fascinating. And I'm going to give you kind of a 50,000-foot view. It started with J.D. Vance's speech. It moved on to the American media reaction and the German reaction to the speech. And now it's kind of gone full circle as Margaret Brennan and others in American media have made fools of themselves with their misunderstanding of history. We'll do that coming up in just a moment. But right now, at 20 until 6 o'clock, as we try to do every day when I remember, we've told you what the news is. We're telling you where the snow is going and where it's coming and where it's falling and where it's not going to fall. But now it's time to turn our attention to the nincompoops. That's right. And they're everywhere in abundance, and not just in this studio. They're all over the joint, and we're going to find them, and we're going to tell you all about them on Nincompoops in the News, where Ken Weaver, Chris Webber, and Matt Murphy offer you nincompoop stories, and you get to vote on which one you think is the nincompoop of the day. Who wants to go first? We need to figure out a way to do this. I ask this question every day. Same question. Who wants to go first?
Let's wrestle.
All right.
I'll just go first. I mean,
okay, Chris.
Skip the physical.
You know what? Instead of the wrestling, let's just let whoever wants to go first go first. Chris Webber, go first.
All right. Well, I think mine fits the title very well, Nincompoops. This is happening at the Kokomo engine plant for the Stellantis Motor Group. That's the company that produces Jeeps. Okay. This factory makes engines for the Wrangler, Compass, and Grand Cherokee models. Well, this happened a couple weeks ago up in Kokomo, Indiana. They're dealing with an unexpected and deeply unpleasant workplace crisis as someone has begun smearing feces on the bathroom walls and leaving piles of it on the floor.
Goodness.
In a letter addressed to all employees earlier this week that leaked on social media, the manager of Stellantis' Well-Being, Health, and Safety Division, R. Tyler Adams, described the ghastly scene that cleanup crews are having to deal with. Not only has feces been spread across walls and left on the floor, but it's also been spread on disability handlebars, door latches, and sink handles. In the letter, Adams says cleaning crews are facing a, quote, potentially dangerous biohazard that's completely avoidable, and that as of February 3rd, they've been instructed to no longer clean up any of the poop that they find spread throughout the bathrooms. Instead, quote, each bathroom found in this grotesque state will be immediately locked and taken out of service until further notice. He says, quote, there will be folks that have some complaints and concerns about the process, but we will no longer ask our staff to clean up these type of events until a detailed investigation is complete. If needed, alternate methods may be used to help pinpoint the culprit. No word on what those alternate methods are. But employees
on the walls.
But employees with any information about the serial bathroom vandal are being urged to report it anonymously via the company's designated email. I'm sure that'll really help.
Yeah.
But for now, the plant's restrooms are locked in a battle between common decency and a mystery vandal. So we'll have to see if they're able to flush out the culprit or if it will continue to stink up the workplace.
Und Party Pooper.
That's a good play on words.
I have a feeling that someone is extremely disgruntled.
Well, they're not gruntled.
That's my take on it.
I don't think if you're gruntled, you're wiping poop everywhere.
Yeah.
I think you by definition you have to be a little disgruntled.
They might be a little touched.
Yeah. This goes beyond. It reminded me of those jogging poopers. You know those people? The jogging poopers?
No.
These people that go jogging and they'll jog for like 8 or 10 miles and,
Nature calls.
Nature calls and they just poop in people's yards and stuff.
Just wherever they're.
Just wherever they are. They just, drop trowel and take care of their business.
But, at least they're just answering nature's call, so to speak. They're not then wiping it on your mailbox.
Yeah, I don't understand all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a Ford or Chevy has infiltrated the Jeep dealers or the Jeep manufacturing plant. It feels like to me. That's bad. So what? They're just going to shut them down one by one?
Shut them down. That's what they say.
But so where do we go to the bathroom now?
I guess that's going to be your problem.
I mean, I feel like we're doing a. Y'all remember that the movie Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're punishing the whole platoon here.
Yeah.
For the actions. I mean, there's only one dude that stole the donut. I mean, I don't know why we're punishing everybody here.
Well, I mean, and if you continue to close the facilities, then, you're going to have a bigger problem than it being on the bathroom floor. It's going to be on the floor everywhere else as well. But
reminds me of that old fatty 2x4. Can't fit, you remember that fatty 2x4 can't fit through the bathroom door?
Yes.
So he pooped it on the floor.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
No, man. There's a last line that I'm not going to do because it's gross. I thought it was gross when I was a kid. Ken Weaver.
All right, y'all ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Riverview, Florida man gets revenge on scammer, helps deputies during undercover sting. A Riverview resident said he provided information to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office that ultimately led to an arrest after he was scammed out of thousands of dollars.
$15,000 to the elderly, that's a lot of money.
That's Bruce Frady. Got a call from someone claiming to be police in November. Well, the Hillsborough County resident learned one of his good friends was in jail and now needed money for bail. At one point, Frady told Fox 13 in Tampa that his friend supposedly came on the line, told Frady not to tell anyone what was happening, which is why Frady didn't call his friend's phone number separately.
And it was exactly his voice.
Well, the request was for $7,500. Well, it worked so well, they came back, and he gave him another $7,500. After the third request, that's when Frady called the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
$15,000 to the elderly, that's a lot of money.
Deputies went over in undercover vehicles to his house, and whenever the perpetrators showed up, they took a box that was full of fake money. Deputies followed this vehicle from Riverview, Florida, to Orlando, reportedly watched the driver hand the package to a man. When deputies approached by foot, that man threw the package and began to run from surveillance units.
As you do.
Yeah. Well, they caught him.
Yeah.
He's identified as Manuel Emilio Almonte Martinez.
Ooh, nice.
Arrested
nice name.
and charged with third-degree grand theft. The lesson in all of this, according to Mr. Frady.
So be very careful.
Very careful. Who you decide to give $7,500 to. No police department calls you and says, your friend's in jail.
We're going to need some money.
We're going to need some money.
What did he say?
We'll take gift cards.
$15,000 is a lot of money that's a lot of money for anybody, sir.
I'm telling you.
Now, I feel bad for Mr. Frady because, I mean, his heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
They apparently used AI to sound like his friend, so.
Wow.
Man, you got to watch out. That AI, we have learned so much about AI on Nincompoops. Remember the Brad Pitt lady?
Yes.
Yeah, she got fooled too.
Yep.
But just,
better watch out.
Folks, don't just give people money.
No. Yeah, no, just hold on to your cash, friend.
Even if it does sound like somebody,
you got to double check and triple check and
just tell
quadruple
them
check.
You come on and get it. I'll be waiting at the door.
Exactly.
Come on and get it.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Well, mine is not about money, but it's about theft. Using a fingerprint lifted off a goldfish package. Cops, that's a goldfish package like the goldfish,
crackers?
the snack. Yes.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, I do
me
too. Cops identified and arrested a man for hitting a female Family Dollar manager in the face with the crackers when she confronted him about stealing from the retailer. Cops allege that Michael Gonzalez, who goes by the name Gizmo.
That It's a strong
I
nickname.
feel like that's a winner right there.
Yeah.
Cops allege that Michael Gonzalez, known as Gizmo, struck the 65-year-old victim after walking out of the Florida Family Dollar business with approximately $50 worth of cleaning supplies and a box of goldfish crackers.
Wait a minute. Remember the story about the woman that pooped on the floor in the dollar store?
I do.
They were stealing cleaning supplies.
They were too.
It was Florida.
Strange.
And it was in Florida. Very odd. The victim, cops say, approached Gonzalez as he handed the stolen goods to a passenger in a vehicle parked in front of the Gulfport, Florida store. Upon being challenged by the woman, Gonzalez, 29 years of age, allegedly, quote, hit her in the face with the goldfish crackers, causing a small cut under her lip.
Ow.
Gonzalez was arrested for strong-arm robbery, a felony in connection with the September 2024 goldfish incident. He was in custody for a prior alleged robbery during which he stole a skateboard from a man who he punched, bit, and stabbed in the face.
Oh, wow.
Shown surveillance images from Family Dollar, Gonzalez, who has several different distinct tattoos on his neck and face, including one between his eyes, reportedly eventually admitted to the cops that he guesses it was him in the photo.
I guess that's me.
Throughout the interview, Gonzalez stated that, quote, this is all petty stuff, and he should just get time served, end quote. A judge apparently disagreed with Mr. Gonzalez, setting his bond at $30,000 for the two pending felony robbery cases. Locked up in the county jail, he is familiar with such accommodations as his rap sheet includes convictions for theft, trespass, robbery, cocaine possession, disorderly conduct, and attempted armed robbery. In addition to various jail sentences, Gonzalez has served nearly 2 years in state prison, according to records. And now he's going to jail for assaulting a woman with goldfish crackers.
He sounds more like a Spike rather than a Gizmo.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I dig that. Yeah. Somebody's been feeding him after midnight. There's no question about that. Yeah. Maybe with some goldfish crackers. That's how we play Nincompoops in the News. You get to vote. 615-737-9986. Ken Weaver, Chris Webber, Matt Murphy. And by the way, already people are complaining that Weber did a poop story during dinner time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's just what the folks are telling me.
Sorry about that.
I was all about it.
I wasn't eating, so I didn't think anything of it.
That's right. We eat later, folks. Yeah. I mean, we don't know when y'all eat. That wraps it up for Nincompoops in the News. Back in a moment. More Nincompoops in Washington, D.C. when we return. Stand by. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I'm very excited to introduce a brand new sponsor to the Matt Murphy Show, Cabinet Solutions in Hendersonville. And to talk all about it, it's Tony with Cabinet Solutions. Hey, Tony, how are you, friend?
Hey, Matt. You didn't know this, but my nickname's Gizmo.
Well, you don't have any facial tattoos, do you?
No, I don't. But, I thought, well, this is really weird that I just went up behind that.
That's absolutely awesome. Look, I'm so excited about letting folks know all about Cabinet Solutions. I was excited to tour your facility up in Hendersonville. For those who don't know about you and the big grand opening, just tell us about the company.
Well, we are about 6 years old now, but we have a long storied tradition with our parent company, who's been in Nashville for over 25 years doing high-end cabinets, custom cabinets, and winning awards everywhere. And we just wanted to bring that kind of service and that kind of design to everybody. So we've opened up Cabinet Solutions where we do semi-customs and customs, and we do builder grade. We do it from every budget, and we can do it for every room of the house. We don't just do kitchens and baths and laundries. We can do closets. We can do garage cabinets. We can do outdoor cabinets. Entertainment, office, you name it. We've got something for everybody.
Well, and the showroom is absolutely beautiful. I can testify to that as we were out a couple of weeks ago. And you've got the big open house happening on March 1st, correct?
We do. It's something we've never done before, and we're actually going to have a sale, believe it or not. And we've not done that in the 25 plus years that we have been in the cabinet business. So we're going to do an actual sale. If somebody will book an appointment with us from now to the end of the month, March, we're going to give them 15% off, and that's a real 15%.
Oh, that's incredible. Go see these guys March 1st from 9 until 4, the big open house in Hendersonville at Cabinet Solutions. And contact them for that 15% offer off your purchase. MyCabinetSolution.com. That's MyCabinetSolution.com. Thank you, Tony, and we'll see you on March 1st.
All right, buddy. Catch you later.
Radar is showing that it is snowing in Clarksville. We'll tell you what's being done in Nashville ahead of the snow falling, coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just looking at breaking news coming out of Washington, D.C., we have a new Secretary of Commerce. Howard Lutnick has been officially voted on as the Secretary of Commerce. That is breaking news coming out just a moment ago. And the U.S. Senate has also advanced Kash Patel's nomination for FBI director. So we're one step closer to that becoming a reality. So you have Lutnick, Howard Lutnick, has officially been confirmed as President Trump's Secretary of Commerce. Lutnick says that he will work with President Donald Trump, making sure nobody's taking advantage of the United States of America on trade, that he is consistent with Trump's tariff policy, that he believes that you can utilize tariffs as a negotiating tactic in order to get a better and more advantageous trade policy with a variety of different countries. And so Howard Lutnick, one of the more wealthy individuals to ever serve in a presidential cabinet, has promised that he will divest his billions and billions and billions of dollars, that he will relinquish all control. He will sell all assets in his company. He will sell and any possible conflict of interest will be sold. He made those comments repeatedly during his confirmation process. And so he is now our Commerce Secretary. Big deal. And a big position, particularly considering how we need to make America great again when it comes to our American economy. Secondarily, you have an advancement of Kash Patel as the nominee for FBI director. He is advancing to the full floor. There it is. I mean, let me tell you, folks.
Is Kash the last one?
I was trying to figure that out, Ken. I mean, outside of, veterans of, I think that's about it. I'm gonna find the list. While Ken Weaver's doing the news, I'll find the list and see if we've gotten to the end of it, if Donald Trump's entire cabinet will be in possession. I mean, FBI director is technically not a cabinet position, but obviously a very important position and one that has to be confirmed by the United States Senate. That is on the way. Another hour to go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. It is now snowing in parts of Clarksville. It's expected to start falling here in Nashville by around 8 o'clock tonight. The full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Channel 4's Brendan Tierney says Nashville Department of Transportation crews have trucks with plows loaded down with salt and brine to keep the roads as clear as possible.
The real big concern from NDOT officials with this storm is going to be how cold it is after the storm. Philip Jones told me that NDOT expects the roads that aren't pre-treated and then plowed to freeze into a snowpack, and they'll probably stay that way until Friday at the earliest.
Governor Lee and TEMA leaders touring flood-damaged areas of the state today, Clarksville and Obion County. It's the first step toward getting federal funding and resources where needed.
Difficult anytime you see someone's home that's got water in it, and that's a hardship for that homeowner and for that family, and there are a lot of families just like them. So it's hard to see, but it inspires you to work to make sure that people are safe.
Lee toured Clarksville's west side, where some residents still have water standing in their homes. Kentucky flood victims bracing for the winter storm. 14 deaths so far in the Bluegrass State. The most recent 2 were from hypothermia. Then here comes single-digit lows at night. Half of the state's counties are under disaster declaration for the flood. And a federal judge will not block DOJ from accessing federal data systems at 7 federal agencies. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan says the plaintiffs, 14 Democrat-led states, failed to show that they will suffer imminent irreparable harm without relief, saying you can't do it just because you're scared. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to explain Elon Musk's role in DOJ again today.
President Trump is the ultimate decision maker for this entire administration. Elon Musk, just like everybody else across the federal government, works at the direction of President Trump.
Earlier today, the FDA Deputy Commissioner for Human Foods, Jim Jones, quit because he reportedly was upset over the firing of about 89 people. U.S. and Russian officials sitting face-to-face for talks on ending the war in Ukraine.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says at the top of the agenda for these conversations between the U.S. and Russia is restoring diplomatic missions in Washington and Moscow.
We haven't really had much engagement with the Russians for almost 3 years, and it sets the table for future conversations. How that turns out will be up to the parties and their willingness not just to make commitments, but to live by them.
Rubio said the U.S. and Russia would each appoint a high-level team to negotiate and work through the end of the war in Ukraine in what he says is a way that's enduring and acceptable to all parties.
That's Karen Travers. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash blocking the right shoulder, 65 northbound, right there at 440. Then in White House, Robertson County, crash 65 northbound at exit 108. Tucker's Crossroads in Wilson County, a crash 40 eastbound just east of Linwood Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, here we go. Entering the final hour of the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you for being out there. Whatever time you're able to give us, we certainly appreciate you. I appreciate you indulging me on my rants and variety of divergence away from the topics of the day. We try to maintain a certain level of focus. We're focused on the snow tonight, boys. It's a-coming.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be down before you know it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clarksville is getting snow.
Well, that's nice.
And it is, looks like there is snow. Now, this is all radar indicated. I don't know if it's hitting the ground yet.
I've got an update on that front.
But Centerville, you know, just south of Dixon there, getting some snow.
Yeah. Larry writes in and says, Brother Ken, it ain't just radar. It's been snowing in Woodlawn for about 30 minutes.
Ooh.
I don't know where Woodlawn is, but it's not Woodlawn Cemetery. No, that'd be Nashville. No. Well, wherever Woodlawn is, Larry says it's snowing there, Ken.
Isn't there a Woodlawn Cemetery in about every town in this country?
Well, there's only one where George Jones is buried.
Well,
I
yes,
think it's Woodlawn
that's
in
right.
Nashville, Tennessee.
That's right.
Woodlawn is just west of Clarksville.
There you have it. About 30 minutes.
Suburb.
I'm still seeing ice down in Little Rock, and Memphis has some ice falling.
Well, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a little tricky and treacherous overnight. Just batten down the hatches and get in there and maybe give yourself a couple of extra hours tomorrow. It's my understanding that a number of things have been canceled for tomorrow. I mean, obviously, whatever school systems are in place, you're not going to school tomorrow, right?
Yeah, my kid's school's already called.
Already out and already called because it's not melting anytime tomorrow, anytime the y'all are probably out. I bet y'all are out for the rest of the week. What do you think?
They just said tomorrow, so we'll see.
We'll see.
I have a feeling you're probably right, though.
I mean, certainly.
Probably Thursday.
Yeah, and then they'll.
Maybe not Friday.
They'll see on Friday or whatever. But how do they do that nowadays? Do they have a built-in number of snow days, or do they?
Yes. Yep.
And if we have too many, they have to just go on Saturday? I don't know.
We've never had to do that. Thankfully, we have done the opposite though, where it's obvious that they realize that they haven't used all their allotted snow days for the year, and so something will happen, and they'll go, "Oh, we're going to cancel school," even though it's like, what? Why are we not going to school?
Because
they got that snow day.
What the heck do y'all do as parents? I mean, or they're just randomly canceling school?
We were lucky because since my wife works at home, we've never really had the big issue, and obviously we have a teenager who drives himself everywhere now. So, but yeah, it's a big headache for a lot of folks.
I know, man. Because you got to do. Teachers don't care because, hey, they're always out of school. Yeah. When the kids are out of school, we're out of school. Yeah. Well, except on teacher days, don't yell at me. I wasn't making fun. God, Moses. Here they come.
See, Brother Murphy, you don't like federal workers, and now you're going after teachers.
I do have your answer while we just move on from that subject, Ken. I do have, just about everybody. There's a couple that have not been confirmed. Now, I'll just run down the list.
Okay.
Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, confirmed.
Secretary of State.
Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, confirmed.
Yeah.
Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, confirmed.
Yeah.
Attorney General Pam Bondi, taken care of.
Yes, sir.
Interior, the Secretary Doug Burgum, done. Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of Agriculture.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what? I do this for a living. If you had bet me $1,000 to name who the new secretary, I couldn't have done it. I'm just we can't keep up. There's too much going on. We just announced Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick confirmed.
Yes, sir.
HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confirmed. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Scott Turner confirmed. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy confirmed.
Yes.
Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, done. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins, done. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, done. White House Chief of Staff, no confirmation necessary, but she's in place. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, done.
Yes, sir.
CIA Director John Ratcliffe, done. Russell Voigt, the Office of Management and Budget, done. Lee Zeldin, EPA Administrator, done. Ambassador to the United States. Hold on that one. And that's about it.
So Linda McMahon hasn't been confirmed yet?
Yeah, that's correct, Ken Weaver. Very good.
Well, I'll be.
So of the ones that I'm looking at, and this is according to two different sources that I tracked down. One was Associated Press. They're not invited into the White House anymore, so maybe they don't know. They got to get their information secondhand out back. They're standing in the Rose Garden looking in the window. I mean, can you imagine? Look, they're just peeking in the windows. Hey, what are they doing in there?
What'd they say?
What'd they say? I can't tell what they said. It's so cold. Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education, is yet to be confirmed.
Okay.
The Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez de Reamer, I think is that pronunciation, has yet to be confirmed. So Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Education, Elise Stefanik, Ambassador to the United Nations, has yet to be confirmed.
Okay.
And then for some reason, we require confirmation for the U.S. Trade Representative, who will be Jameson Greer. He has yet to be confirmed. And Kash Patel, FBI Director. Mike Huckabee, Ambassador to Israel, is a confirmation that's yet to happen. And there are several others that are, I would consider, lower level. You know, Steve Witkoff, Special Envoy to the Middle East, they're talking about his confirmation. The Surgeon General of the United States of America. Man, I remember when I thought the Surgeon General was an important position. Remember that?
Yes. Well, it had a message on all the cigarette packages.
Every single cigarette I ever smoked had a message from the attorney. And you know, from the Surgeon General, you know what he told me?
What's that?
He said, y'all watch out if you get pregnant. And I said, yes, sir. I mean, that's what it said, right? It said if you get pregnant, you better watch out. You're smoking.
You better watch out.
Also, smoking causes lung cancer. And I said I already knew that. Thank you. Smoke them if you got it. And then we got a new one when Bill Clinton? No, that was after. No, I remember we got a new Surgeon General, and she started talking about condoms and bananas, and everybody freaked out.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
What was her name?
It had to be. And was that Clinton? No, it wasn't Clinton, because Clinton was 92, and I was in college. Maybe it was Bush. I don't know. One way or the other, I just remember distinctly when we were in some level of high school, an attorney general recommending that during health that we get taught how to use proper protection. And
a
lot of folks freaked out about that. So Surgeon General will be Dr. Jeanette Neshelwat, and she has yet to be confirmed as well. So those are your confirmations and lack thereof. ATF director. I don't see ATF director on my big list. Now, I don't pretend that my list is comprehensive. There's the SBA administrator, too, Kelly Loeffler. That's the Small Business Administration. I missed him or her. Centers for Disease. I don't see ATF, so, I mean, maybe that's just not on my big list. But FBI directors, really, of all of these, maybe Linda McMahon will get a little pushback if the Democrats try to get a pelt, but I don't think they'll do anything on the Republican side. Really, Kash Patel's the only one that I would anticipate might have trouble getting through a Republican-controlled Senate. So, other than that, Donald Trump has gotten his selections, and why wouldn't he? After all, we picked him to be our president of the United States. It was Bill Clinton, and it was Jocelyn Elder.
Jocelyn Elder. Wow, I forgot all about that.
It was not C. Everett Koop. C. Everett Koop was the attorney general before Jocelyn Elder. He was the guy that had the beard with no mustache.
Oh, yeah.
Looked a little
strange.
A little Amish. Had a little Amish look going on. Looked like he was going to darn socks and build a barn and then tell you not to smoke. But I thought when I was a real young kid, this shows you how kids think. I thought the surgeon, you know what I thought the Surgeon General did?
Perform surgery
on people.
All the surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. He was in charge of surgery.
Yeah.
Across the United States of America.
Kind of makes sense, right?
Well, he's the general of the surgeons.
General of the surgeons.
Makes sense to me. Mike is in Old Hickory with a thought on Social Security. Hello, Mike.
How you doing, guys?
Wonderful, Mike. Thanks for calling in.
Another exposure of a bureaucratic fraud, Social Security. We're now finding out that, thousands or maybe a million or two people getting paid Social Security payments that are over 120 years old. How does that happen? And so now we're being told, oh, well, that's just a mistake and whatever. What I want to know is, what is Marsha Blackburn and what is Bill Haggerty, what is John Rose and Amy Ogles going to do from this state, Tennessee, to protect the Social Security recipients, the real ones that are still alive? How are we going to find out about this latest fraud? Billions stolen from us. And I'm on Social Security. And I'm mad as hell. And as the saying goes, I'm not going to take it anymore. I've caught both those options up. I've caught both those. How do people over 100 years old, 120 years old, getting payments? Who are these people? Where's the money gone?
Yep. It's a good question.
No, Mike, great questions. Here's the lowdown. You keep listening online because I got the story for you. Now, what Elon Musk has discovered, and I don't mean to be too nuanced with this, all of these people are not getting payments. Some of them are not requested and some of them are not being made, but all of them are still on the payment schedule. That doesn't mean that they're being paid. So Musk's bombshell has been known, according to the Social Security Administration. This is the funny thing. When this came out yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, and Elon Musk revealed it, the Social Security Administration immediately came out and said, we know that. We already knew that. Well, if you know that, why are they still on the rolls? Because what he uncovered, what Mike is talking about, that there are some 20 million people in the Social Security database that are over the age of 100. 20 million people. According to Musk, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false. Musk posted this on his X machine late Sunday night, showing a chart of age ranges from 0 to 369. Musk, joking, maybe Twilight is real and there are vampires collecting Social Security. There are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens of the United States of America. This might be the biggest fraud in history. According to the Social Security Administration, and by the way, I don't believe them. I don't believe them because either one or two things are true. You are either trying to CYA right now or you knew about this, and then the question is, why didn't you do anything about it? So they're like, oh, well, we knew this back in July of 2023, where it showed that 18.9 million people were listed as over 100 years of age and not dead. By the way, for those who want the actual numbers, the best estimates are that there are roughly 86,000 people living in the United States of America today that are centenarians. Centenarians. Thank you, Ken Weaver. Man, he's so good. Centenarians, according to the Census Bureau, 86,000. But according to the Social Security Administration, let's see, 90 to 99, there are roughly this is according to Social Security. Ages 90 to 99, there are over 6 million people. 100 to 109, there's 4.7 million people. 110 to 119, 3.6 million people. 120 to 129, 3.4 million people. And I'm just rounding off. These numbers don't actually even out. 130 to 139, almost 4 million people. 140 to 149, 3.5 million. 150 to 159, 1.3 million. And there is, in fact, according to the Social Security Administration, at least one person that is 369 years of age.
That's where all the Social Security benefits are going.
He's getting his money worth.
Stack. I mean, I'm sure. Yeah. I hope that fella didn't retire at 62. Because if you retire early, you don't get the full 100%.
Yeah, that would have been a shame.
It would have been a shame not to get that full 100%.
Wonder what his secret to long life is.
I don't know. Dragon's blood, maybe?
Yeah.
The same Inspector General's office found in March of 2015 that 6.5 million people with Social Security numbers had no death information over the age of 112. In other words, while it is yet to be determined exactly how many of these people are continuing to get paid and how much fraud is going on, these people are still on the rolls and, according to Social Security, quote, eligible to be paid. I mean, one way or the other, it demonstrates to you the massive inefficiency and fraud that exists in the federal government. And it exists because of a lack of cleaning it up. And the lack of cleaning it up exists because anytime anybody tries, and I don't suggest that anyone's tried on this level, look at the pushback that they get. Oh, you're going to kill babies, say the Democrats. Oh, millions of people are going to die, say the Democrats. Ignoring the massive fraud and abuse that exist within the system. Mike, I'm glad you called because it gave me an opportunity to bring that very important subject up. It's 21 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. The Tennessee Men's Clinic wants you to know that if you've had issues in the bedroom, perhaps you've had performance issues, and you're a guy, they have a solution for you at Tennessee Men's Clinic. The Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to speak with you. Maybe you've reached a certain age and you just can't perform like you used to. Maybe it doesn't manifest itself in the bedroom so much as it is an issue concerning you with regard to energy levels in the gym or, activity out of doors. Whatever it might be, guys, if you've lost a step, the possibility exists it could be your T levels. And if it is your T levels, they can help. at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They have 2 locations. One is in Franklin and the other Midtown. They've been there since 2014, and they've helped literally thousands of men just like you. There's no shame in this game, guys. Let's get it handled. Let's get it solved, and let's get back to life again with your significant other, with your loved one, with your wife, with your girlfriend. Let's do it at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or call 615-208-9090 for either location, Franklin or Midtown. That's 615-208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Breaking news from Newsweek says that President Trump has ordered the Department of Justice to fire all remaining Biden-appointed U.S. attorneys. He also signed another round of executive orders today. We'll go over that in the day's closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dadgum. Let's go. I mean, you're fired. Let's make it happen. Let's go. I'm down for it.
I mean,
what would you say is the finest state capital in America?
The finest, like as far as appearance, or
well, I mean, the criteria would be, according to this list that I have in front of me, the criteria would be affordability, which hurts Nashville. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
Economic well-being, quality of education and health, and quality of life. I would suggest if this were ranked on cool, I don't know that you could beat Nashville.
It's pretty strong on the cool factor.
Based on the cool factor.
Yeah.
I mean, but I'm gonna share this list with you. Nashville is not in the top 10, which bothers me.
I bet it's going to be a weird Top 10.
Let me put it this way. Ken Weaver is intimately familiar with one of these cities.
Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho.
Wow.
But where does Boise land on the big list? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Okay.
I'm not going to make you wait. The city of Nashville, Tennessee ranks 12th out of the 50 state capitals.
Well, that's close.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'll just start from the bottom. The crap hole capitals of America. Augusta, Maine is number 50.
Really?
I've never been to Augusta, Maine. I've barely been to. I think I dipped into Maine once. Trenton, New Jersey. Nah, that tracks. Trenton's number 49. Jackson, Mississippi. Oh, yeah, that one too. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Dover, Delaware. Hartford, Connecticut. And Montgomery, Alabama. I'm a little surprised Montgomery, Alabama made it up to 44th. I lived there. Crap hole. Then we go on. I'm not going to name every single state capital. Let me get to the top 10. Number 12, actually top 12. Number 12.
Yes, sir.
Nashville, Tennessee. Number 11, Concord, New Hampshire. Number 10, Columbus, Ohio. I say, come on, y'all. Ohio? Have y'all been to Ohio?
Columbus is pretty cool. I've been to Columbus. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, they got a lot of nice breweries.
I don't really know Columbus that well. This is why I'm hedging my bet. I know I've been to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I'll second that.
That's the Queen City.
Cincinnati or Columbus?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then let's not even talk about Cleveland. Their rivers catch on fire, or did. St. Paul, Minnesota, number 9. Denver, Colorado. Well, I mean, I guess you get high and you can think anything's nice.
Well, that's true.
Salt Lake City, Utah is number 7 on this list. Lincoln, Nebraska is number 6. I don't know that I've ever been to Lincoln. I've been in Nebraska. Atlanta. See, this list is garbage. Atlanta, Georgia, number 5.
Yeah.
What a garbage selection. Have you been to Atlanta? Do you ever want to go back?
I don't ever want to go.
Have you been, Ken?
No, I haven't. But I don't. From everything I hear, man, I just don't want to do it.
Think I-24.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Just a mess.
The entire region is I-24.
Yeah.
Refrigerators and homeless people and
mattresses.
Number 4, Boise, Idaho.
Boise, Idaho. Yes,
4th top state capital in America. Number 3, Raleigh, North Carolina.
I could see that.
Yeah, Raleigh's all right. Number 2, Madison, Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Okay.
They have a good time up there in Madison.
And the number 1, according to this rando list, here we go, Austin, Texas.
Texas.
Just kind of landed like a fart.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I meant to do.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Like
Get that right.
Like a poot in a car. Austin, Texas, the number 1 state capital. I suppose. I don't know. I don't make up these lists. I just report on them. 31 after the hour. Here comes the news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Snowfall's expected here in Nashville to start about 8 o'clock. It's already snowing in Clarksville, and it did in the 5 o'clock hour like we forecasted it to. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Trump's pick to run the Commerce Department, Howard Lutnick, confirmed. Kash Patel clearing another procedural vote today in the full Senate, which indicates he is likely to be confirmed as FBI director by week's end. President Trump signed another round of executive orders today, including one on policy for IVF treatments. And after the signing, he took questions. He praised his tariffs.
And we'll be announcing various very large companies, the biggest actually, and they'll be coming back having to do with chips and having to do also with cars and lots of other things.
He struck an optimistic tone about his talks with Russia to end the war on Ukraine, but will it take our troops?
If we have a peace deal, I think having troops over there from the standpoint of Europe, we won't have to put any over there because, we're very far away. But having troops over there would be fine. I would not object to it at all.
Money News, Chuck Severson.
Stocks drifted at the start of the holiday-shortened week. The Dow up 10 points, the S&P gained 15, and the Nasdaq rose 14 points. The White House has submitted court documents that say billionaire Elon Musk is not the administrator of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, but a senior advisor. The declaration comes after Democrats filed a lawsuit to block Musk and the DOGE team from government systems, saying they have too much power to access personal data from Americans and initiate mass layoffs without being vetted or confirmed by the Senate. The White House is still not saying who leads DOGE. Brazil's government has approved joining OPEC Plus, the group of major oil exporting nations that manages oil production to set prices. For now, Brazil can only join OPEC's discussion groups but cannot participate in decisions. The new Jazz Legacies Fellowship has announced a $15 million program that gives 50 artists over the age of 62 a Lifetime Achievement Award of $100,000.
That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I-24 eastbound in Murfreesboro. You got a crash blocking the left and right shoulders. That's going to be right there at Medical Center Parkway, 24 eastbound. The left lane is blocked, but it looks like it's also impacting the right shoulder of 24 westbound as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Stoltzco. If you own land and you're looking to do something with it, maybe to monetize it or to do something with your money, I want you to put your money in real assets by building on that property with a quality, incredible, high-quality custom structure from Stoltzco at reasonable prices as well. Stoltzco is the leading company in first-class customer service and the creation of post-frame buildings, such as barn dominiums, pole barns, garages, equestrian spaces, event spaces. Friends, you just have to see these things to understand the quality that we're talking about from Stoltzco. If you can dream it, they can do it at Stoltzco, and they've been doing it for a long time now. There's a reason why they are the #1 post-frame building company in Middle Tennessee, because they are simply the best. Their quality reigns supreme. So if you're looking for a future home, if you're looking for, maybe you have property and, you know, your in-laws are coming in, and, you know, they eventually will be living, say, on your property. Maybe you want to move them closer to you. You can do so with an incredible home to retire in at Stoltzco. Go to the country to get away from the city. You can do it at Stoltzco. Go to stoltzco.com. That's STOLTZCO.com to find these incredible buildings at Stoltzco, or give them a call to schedule an appointment today. 615-622-5992. 622-5992 for an incredible barn dominium, pole barn, equestrian, or event space at Stoltzco. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I accidentally lost my story. I have the basics, though. During the cross, we call it the cross when, we go from one live and local show to the next live and local show. And there's, we like to talk to the host that's sitting in the chair. I don't get to do the cross on the back end of the show. I do one on the front end with Chad Benson at the end of his show. But, Dan Mandis will, talk to Chris Hand, and then Chris Hand will talk to Chad, and Chad will talk to me, and, we further the day. I mean, most radio stations don't have the level of live and local programming that we have from 5A early in the morning till 7P late at night. And then there's Mark Levin, and then, overnights with Red Eye Radio, et cetera, and we crank it all up again tomorrow morning. That said, during the cross, we were talking about, Chad was doing a story about a woman that lost both of her hands trying to get a selfie with a shark. And I said, I do not have an ability to have sympathy for stupid people like that. And Chad brought up one of my favorite comedians, Norm Macdonald, who, the day after the crocodile hunter got killed, was on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, ripping jokes about the crocodile hunter. In a way, Norm Macdonald's my favorite comedian in a way that only Norm Macdonald could do in his kind of deadpan Midwestern delivery. 44 years old. Who would have thought? Who would have thought somebody named the Crocodile Hunter would die early? And then he said, actually, 44, that's pretty old for a crocodile hunter. And, he on and goes with the jokes. I don't have an ability to have much sympathy for people that do dangerous things, that understand the risks of doing dangerous things, and then eventually get caught up. I'm sure their family's sad to see them go. So this woman that was trying to take a selfie with a shark, and the shark, she had her hands down near the water trying to take this selfie, and the shark bit both of her hands off. No word on whether she actually got the selfie or not.
Well, if she didn't, then she's just going to have to do it again.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know how you get the second one. So that led me to this story, which I just deleted off of my computer accidentally. I hit the X instead of the expand. But it's a couple. They were traveling. They were doing some journey for charity across the world to Australia. And it was and they got arrested in Iran. A couple was arrested in Iran. And I don't have any sympathy for anybody that's arrested in Iran that doesn't live in Iran. Why are you in Iran? Do you not know what they do to you over there?
Oh, is this the couple that was charged with espionage?
Oh yeah. Did you have it? Do you have it pulled up there?
Yeah.
Can you give me a little of the deets?
Let's see.
They were on some travel adventure thing. I think it was a charity component going on to it. Why do you go to Iran? Why would you go to Iran?
Yep, the couple were on a motorbiking trip across the globe to Australia as part of a positive psychology mission.
There you go. Positive psychology. That's another strike against you.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Positive psychology. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
I don't think it's going to help your positivity at all to be stuck in an Iranian prison for the next 10 years.
Yeah, the statement from the Iranian officials says, quote, the individuals entered Iran under the guise of tourists and under the guise of investigative and research work have collected information in several provinces of the country. And that these individuals, were cooperating with covert institutions linked to the intelligence services of hostile and Western countries.
Right. I mean, but how do you not understand the risk that you're taking if you go into a nation do you think that it'll be okay for you, that you could just say, hey, we're cool, don't worry about us?
Yeah, we're just passing through.
Yeah, we're just tourists. We're good people.
Yeah.
We're on a body positivity tour or whatever the hell it is. Just don't get it. I mean, so I don't have any sympathy for these folks. Scott is next in Fort Pierce, Florida, it says, Scott. Is that right?
How about that, Matt?
How about that? What's going on, Scott?
Man, I lived in Nashville for about 5 years. I got turned on to you guys, and I'm back in Florida. I couldn't take the cold weather, man. I got some health issues and stuff, so I had no choice but to come back to where the weather stayed warm. You know, it's 68 degrees right now.
Well, some would say the next 24 hours will validate that experience and decision for you because, Scott, we're about to get snowed on.
I know, man. I listen to y'all, and I wish I could take it. I really miss being there with y'all. But, man, I called to give you some input on Social Security, man. What I have never heard is anybody talking about making up the difference in inflation from what the inflation was that we just went through and what the average COLA was for Social Security. Last year, the COLA was 2.5%. How does that jive with inflation?
Well, it doesn't.
Exactly. So I hear what they're saying about, you know, all the dead people and everything. What I don't hear anybody talking about is getting right. You know, and there's a lot of people that I have come in contact with who are not American citizens yet receive Social Security, which I can never figure that out.
Well, I have a difficult time, and maybe I'm wrong in this, Scott. Perhaps I should invest a little more time and energy in it. But here's the reality. I have a difficult time investing any time or energy in something that I don't believe in and something that I do not believe will exist by the time that I reach the age that it would impact me.
Oh, I get that. Unfortunately for me and many other people like me, I'm disabled, man, and I live on Social Security, and it is tough. And, you know, I understand your philosophy, and I hope to God that there's something left for you when you get ready to retire. But the bottom line is I can't go and work anymore, man. And I'm stuck.
Well, no, I get it. I mean, no, I fully understand where you're coming from, Scott. Here's what I would say, though. I mean, and the way that obviously people like you that were sold a bill of goods. We were all sold a bill of goods on the issue of Social Security. You deserve to continue to be made whole as best we can while the system, we can maintain some sort of flotilla to support the system. But we have to address it for a certain age of people, in as much as recognizing that we're going to have to pay into a system that we do not expect anything will come out of it for us. We have to pay into that system to continue to help people like you who paid in. See, because your money's already gone. Your money has long since been spent on other people. Now it's my responsibility and others' responsibility to put our money into the system so that we can keep you propped up. At some point, because of the nature of the Ponzi scheme, we have to cut that off. And we have to tell a group of people, and nobody's going to want to hear this, but we have to tell, whether it's, 40 years of age and younger or, from 40 to 20 or whatever it might be, you're going to have to pay into the system for the next 20 years, and you will get no benefit to yourself, but we have to support those people who bought into the system. That's going to take a lot of suck it up buttercup. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. But I definitely believe that once they clean out the rolls and they get people that are not entitled to Social Security off of Social Security, that will make that transition 100% easier.
Well, you might be right. I frankly appreciated George W. Bush's attempt at an approach to this where you get a percentage of the money that you put in to invest privately, and that percentage that goes to you and you alone. That is set aside for the individual putting that money in. I think it was 3 or 5%, something like that. I mean, it was a pittance in the grand scheme of things, but that money would actually grow and build for the individual. Scott, I appreciate what you're coming from, and thank you for the call. It is, if it were run by any other type of organization outside of government, it would be looked at as the Ponzi scheme that it is. We pay in, Chris Webber, Matt Murphy, every working age adult, we pay into a system that, we've been told for years goes to us. Your money goes back to you. My money doesn't go back to me. My money goes to someone else. Your money goes to someone else. If you're paying in, that money is going to keep the system afloat. And the only way that this system continues to float, and by the way, it's about to tilt in the wrong direction, is that you have more and more people coming into the system When Elon Musk talks about our birth rates of the United States of America, part of what he's talking about is an inability to continue to support Social Security. It's just a boondoggle. It's bad. Bad. On the super text line, 615-737-9986, many of you are telling me how to retrieve my history. I know, I just didn't want to do it. I was being lazy. I knew that Weber would have my back, honestly. Social Security is taxation without representation. I don't know if it's that. I mean, it's a Ponzi scheme is what it is. I'm paying into a system on the promise that I'm going to get paid out at the end of my life, and I know that I'm not going to get paid out at the end of my life. And I am told, they don't even pretend it anymore. They did for a long, long time. Oh, your money's your money. Your money goes into your pot. Your money goes into your bucket. My money doesn't go into my bucket. Come on. 0928 says, I've been hearing Social Security would run out 30 years ago. Never has. You know why? Because we keep... 0928, come on now. Why haven't we run out of money for Social Security, 0928? We are $37 trillion in debt, man. Or lady, or sir, madam. Let's keep it professional. One of the reasons we're $37 trillion in debt is because we continue to have to sink money into a Social Security system that cannot float upon itself. And then 9832 writes in. I made reference to Norm Macdonald and Steve the Crocodile Hunter. 9832 said, I'll whoop Norm's old ass. Well, Norm is dead. So, I mean, he and Norm died some years ago. He and the Crocodile Hunter are probably having a big laugh over his joke at this point. It is 10 until the top of the hour. We'll wind up and get ready for the snow next. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Here's the deal, folks. If you don't know how much you're paying for health insurance, if you're not sure, if I can ask you, how much did you pay last year? If you don't know the answer to that, and if you don't know what it's really costing you, Shane Ring at Cover Nash should be the next call that you make regarding your insurance. Cover Nash wants you to know how much you spend, and more importantly, how much you are overspending on your health care plan. Because what Shane can do, he can shop. I mean, I think there's like 60 or 65 different companies and programs within companies around the country. Shane is not a call center agent, right? He's not there to serve you a particular insurance. He is there to look at all of it and figure out exactly what works for you, what's right for you, what's going to give you maximum coverage for the least cost. He sits down with you in his office in Brentwood. He shops the entire health care plan market and every health plan available, and he gives you various options, and then you and Shane sit down and decide for yourselves what is maximum value for your dollar. That's what it's all about with insurance, folks. Let Shane Ring take a personalized approach with you and your health plan with Cover Nash. Go to covernash.com for more information. Covernash.com. I encourage you to take control of your money and your health coverage managed by you, not by the government, with Cover Nash. 615-465-0023. 615-465-0023 for Cover Nash. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A few more moments before we say goodnight. Hand off to Mark Levin and get ready for the snow. I guess I could give you one last in the absence of Ken Weaver, who is making his way to I-24 as we speak. I mean, just moments ago, I got the fare thee well. Let me go ahead and get the radar pulled up, and I'll give you the look, I'm looking at a radar signature of snow in Franklin already. I mean, I'm talking Franklin, Tennessee. Not Franklin, Kentucky.
Interesting.
I mean, there's a little bit of a loophole. You know, is it just me, or does it feel like Nashville creates this little vortex of warmth or something?
A little dome, if you
right.
Yeah.
It takes a minute for it to push its way into.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Are you seeing that? You looking at that?
The little tails kind of sneaking into Franklin down there.
Yeah. Dixon looks like it's getting something or another. Clarksville's getting something or another. But the big snow is on the way. So it's kind of a line between Franklin, Kentucky, over to Clarksville, Tennessee, and down to Dixon. And then it kind of snakes back around to Franklin and makes a little loop-de-loo like a C back around to Franklin. But all of that is on the way. Suffice it to say, I agree with you, Weber. I mean, when it snows at night, it's just there's an interesting unknown to it.
Yeah.
Because
you're going to miss it, essentially. You don't know what's happening. Can't hear it.
For me, there's something about, remember Ralphie in A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
There's just something about that, though. You go to bed, and it's either just started or it's just getting going, and then you wake up to the magic of what happened.
Yeah.
While you were in bed.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, too.
It is cool.
It's nice. So we got that going for us tonight, which is nice. I don't know. I have a long-standing belief that there are certain people that I would kill.
Well, all right.
I mean, if somebody's coming at you or me or, in self-defense,
Sure.
I would kill someone in self-defense. Okay. I think that there are, I'm not proud to mention this, but if you could present certain people to me that I'd be like, yeah, I'll pull the trigger, or yeah, I'll flip the switch and, do what I need to do to eliminate the earth from that evil.
Mm.
And then there are a much larger group of people that I don't know that I would kill them. In fact, I don't think I would kill them.
But you wouldn't miss them if they were gone?
But I'd put them on an island. Like if I could boat them out to an island, just a deserted island, and just dump them off on the island, I'd put them on the island. That's not killing them, right?
I'd need a really big island.
Yeah, yes.
But I'm with you.
Yeah, the island would need to be pretty big. I don't want to kill this person, but I don't want this person to be a part of society anymore. I point you to Chattanooga, Tennessee. A man in Chattanooga charged with shoplifting told his grandfather that he would reveal the location of his vehicle and the family pit bull inside it if his grandfather paid his bond. Marvin Blaine Royer, 23, faces several charges, including extortion and animal cruelty. Police affidavit said the incident happened last Monday night when Royer's grandfather reached out to the police about a missing persons report that he made on his grandson. He was last seen at Home Depot. Eventually, the kid was found. The kid got arrested and taken to jail. Said, only if you come and bail me out of jail will I tell you where the dog is.
Wow. What a low life.
That guy needs to be on the island.
First class ticket.
First class ticket to the island. There you go. There's going to be a lot of people, I feel like, on the island before you know it. That wraps it up for us. For Chris Weber, Matt Murphy, Ken Weaver, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Enjoy the snow, and we'll talk to you at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Until then, so long, everybody.